Greetings, my fellow Americans. This is your President Samuel Ronan speaking, and today is Recap Thursdays. We made it through another week of streaming. I don't know how, because things have continued to be bonkers, and today, let me tell you, is absolutely no different. We're going to obviously start off with our top U.S. headlines from Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. She does our job for us, right? So let's let her do it. Hello, Anna. Gonna continue on with the intro here. Basically, in just the past 48 hours, we are being able to cover things like Alex Jones' $1.4 billion lawsuit got rejected. That appeal got rejected, and he is 100% on the hook for that nonsense. MTG is continuing to fisher the MAGA movement. And some of the crazier things that we'll be covering today is the fact that Trump has publicly authorized the CIA to get into Venezuela. Because normally Venezuela is doing the coup d'etat behind the scenes, you know? This time it's public. So, a lot to cover. Hey Blake, been a while. Nice to see you. Love seeing the MOG being used. The Cupo representation. Love it. But yeah. So we literally have some of the most ridiculous topics to cover today. So let's let me first get to the right screen. Let's get started.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Israeli officials say they'll further delay the reopening of the Rafah border crossing between Egypt and the...
By the way, remember when Rafah was where everybody was supposed to go, and that's where all the safe haven was supposed to be, and that's where all the aid was going to happen, and this, that, and the other, and then Rafah turned into ground zero? Remember that? I think that was about... last year. I think that was around September, August of last year. Yeah. Full circle.
The Gaza Strip, as Israel continues to severely limit humanitarian aid to more than 2 million Palestinians still suffering from hunger and malnutrition, as well as severe shortages of medicine, clean water, and other basic goods. Meanwhile, Al Jazeera reports Israeli fires killed at least 3 Palestinians so far today, despite the ceasefire deal that went into effect last week.
How the fuck are you going to have a ceasefire and then continue to attack? Like, I don't... Hey, we're going to sign this and agree to not fight you, and then fight you anyway. Yeah, I did a Freudian slip, my bad. I didn't mean Venezuela did the coup. CIA. Now we know why the Nobel Prize was given to that Venezuelan Guasana. Yeah, because they are now being... she's now going to be positioned to take over the Venezuelan government if the CIA and Trump administration are successful in overthrowing the current one. Literally, Genocide 101. Tell them the safe zone is safe and then bomb or gas it. I mean, it very much so is 1947 Germany shit. Well, no, I meant that America is usually in charge of the cooing. Whether or not Venezuelans are involved or the country, the civilians involved, that's part of the coup, right? But it's usually orchestrated behind the scenes by the CIA, and now it's the quiet part out loud. Yeah, and I'm just reading it off the word. I don't know what it means, and so if it's a slur, I apologize. Please don't cancel me.
Israeli officials have threatened to end the truce if Hamas doesn't return all the bodies of the dead Israeli hostages.
Now,
on Wednesday, Hamas said it...
How are you going to end a truce that you're already violating and blame Hamas for not being able to find the bodies because of the sheer amount of violence Israel has been implementing throughout this entire ordeal?
It turned over 2 more bodies, bringing the total number to 9, but said it would need specialized equipment to search through the rubble to find the bodies of 19 remaining captives, many believe killed by Israeli strikes. The Israeli military is not allowing in that specialized equipment. Meanwhile...
So, we're going to need specialized equipment to find these bodies, but we're also not going to be granted the opportunity to do that which is being used as justification to continue slaughter by Israel, who is doing the one denying the special equipment. Like, do y'all not understand? Like, do you see this?
Thousands of Palestinians who were forced by Israel to flee their neighborhoods are returning to find their homes in rubble. This is displaced Gaza City resident Al-Abed Al-Fioumi.
There's no work, no food, no drinks, no housing, and now winter is coming. By God Almighty, I'm telling you, I swear we don't have blankets. I have nothing, nothing at all. I left and my house was destroyed, and I'm still in the same situation, and now we're suffering. Where are we supposed to live? Where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do? There are about 36 of us here. Me, my grandchildren, my daughters-in-law, and my children, and we don't know where to go or where to turn.
Which again, we've been saying that this genocide has been a genocide, right? We've been saying that for 2 years now. And we've also been saying that the wholesale destruction and leveling of cities and living quarters and civilian structures is unethical, a war crime, crime against humanity, right? All of these things we've been saying for literally as long as we have been streaming, right? And I know we had a bit of a break there for a while, but still, for as long as we have been streaming, we have been commenting on how Israel is devastating the living area of Palestinians. And now, 2 years later, full circle, Palestinians are allowed to go home to rubble, to literally rubble. No infrastructure is working. The Israeli government is not allowing aid to go by. They are controlling access to food, water, and shelter. There is no electricity. There is no running water. There's no running sewage. There's no medicine, right? There's no schools. There's no nothing. There is literally nothing except the rubble that you see right there. This ceasefire is a farce, even if Israel was insistent on doing the right thing. Even if Israel was willing to stop fighting and literally pull back and all these other things, it would still be a farce, because what home do Palestinians have left to go home to? They are literally being told to return to a battlefield of carnage and destruction. And good luck. Guasano is Spanish for worm. It means a traitor of the revolution. Nice. I think we should start using that in America for our revolutionary chats, because if MAGA is going after Latinos, we can call them guasanos, because that's exactly what they are. They are traitors to the revolution. They are traitors to their country. Fidel coined the term for Cuban exiles. Los parasitos, los guasanos, los hijos de los guasanos. I think I said that right. It's a slur against the enemy. It's not a slur against a minority. It's like calling somebody a maggot or a Yankee. Well, even the UN now recognizes that as a genocide. Well, no, because technically that would require the US to vote yay. And the US will never vote yay while Trump or anybody that isn't me is in the presidency. By the way, the Rafah crossing is still closed. Food is still sparse. The electric grid is still down, and gas still costs $200 to $300 per kilo. Basically, a gas tank is $200 in Gaza. I know because of a Palestinian TikToker. The only thing that stopped was the bombs and drone strikes, and even then, it hasn't stopped the killing of Palestinians by Israeli soldiers. So yeah, the fact that Israel is like, oh yeah, we will let 300 trucks through, and literally nothing has changed. You know what? Like, that's the point. Before, Palestine was an open-air prison that happened to have schools and housing and so on and so forth. Now, it's literally a concentration camp. This is literally the Warsaw Ghetto. It's actually worse than the Warsaw Ghetto, because I think the Warsaw Ghetto at least had running water and electricity, but I could be mistaken. There's still IOF killings, especially when they try to go get aid. A war crime, and again, crime against humanity. No, it's appalling, and of course, we can't talk about news for the day or for the week without talking about Israeli Zionist atrocities. How the hell do I have hiccups when I just drank? Oh my goodness.
Popular Palestinian leader Marwan Barghouti is suffering rib fractures after being beaten unconscious in an Israeli prison, the Palestinian prisoner's media office said Wednesday. His son, Ara Barghouti, said the assault took place as his father was being transferred between prisons in Israel. According to Ara Barghouti, the beating allegedly took place after far-right Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir visited Marwan Barghouti in prison in August and showed him a picture of an electric chair, telling him he deserved to be executed. Marwan Barghouti has been in prison for 20 years, serving 5 life sentences. Israel prevented his inclusion on the list of Palestinian prisoners to be freed as part of the ceasefire deal. In Spain, hundreds of thousands...
What the fuck did the guy do that would even warrant 5 consecutive life sentences? And yeah, they're oh, he was the former leader of Fatah. Okay, I see. And yeah, no, they've been torturing every Palestinian prisoner. Every single prisoner, or just about every single prisoner that Israel released from their control had missing limbs. Literally missing limbs. They were beaten, tortured, and starved to the point of needing amputations. Like, in no form or fashion is what Israel is doing anything remotely approaching legal, lawful, or moral, or ethical. And the fact that it is so blatantly out there and in your face is obscene. It's one of the reasons why my Israeli policy, which... is that on Streamlinks? It is. Why is that the page? I want to go to issues here. Israeli relations. So we'll go ahead and duplicate. So immediate. So right here. And I guess. No, hold on. I'm pressing the wrong button here. All right. So in the Twitch. There we go. You can follow along with me. Israeli relations. The plan is to immediately dissolve all diplomatic relations with and the immediate designation of Israel as a terrorist state illegally occupying the historical lands of Palestine. Immediate cessation and expulsion of all Israeli nationals in positions of government or industrial authority, including embassies. Immediate demand for the Israeli government to surrender to the United Nations International Criminal Courts for prosecution of their myriad, well-documented and publicly endorsed war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated against the Palestinian people. The issuance of an ultimatum to the Israeli government to comply within 48 hours of this declaration, or be invaded by the full might and fury of the United States military. Immediate arrest of all Israeli nationals in positions of power within the United States government or industries, seizure of their assets, revocation of their dual citizenship if applicable, and seizure of their passports. Now, that may sound duplicating, but the idea here is... well, maybe that is a straight-up duplication. No, I think this meant like in the land of Israel, and then this is those that are in America. And then the piece de resistance: all pro-Zionist elected, appointed industrial leader or lobbyist shall be similarly arrested and charged with aiding and abetting acts of terrorism and genocide, with their assets seized, passports confiscated, and shall be similarly brought before the ICC. So, my Israeli relations foreign policy platform is to universally, unilaterally, and unequivocally throw Israel and Zionism completely under the bus. And where it is under my control, under the United States of America, our federal laws and systems, to try and then sentence and then summarily execute them. Because they are... one, there's the treason aspect, right? The infestation of Zionism in American politics, the Americans that are complicit, and then the Zios that are you know, putting their little feelers out and everything. So, as far as I am concerned, the day one of my presidency, Israel will become an enemy of the state. And they will have 48 hours to surrender their government leaders, their military leaders to the ICC, or the United States of America will fucking invade that country and either arrest them and deliver them outright or kill them in the process because of the whole military part, right? So, he almost led a revolution in the West Bank. Well, go figure that that guy got arrested then. There is only one solution, intifada, revolution. I guess I don't know the full definition of intifada, so I'm not going to endorse that per se. You could also try to kick out Israeli business leaders via the Defense Production Act, presidential war powers, or something else. Yeah, no, I do, yeah. Oh, okay, so that, yep. People often underestimate the power of the Defense Production Act and executive authority around antitrust laws and businesses. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm talking about, this is what I'll do after I declare a state of emergency in the United States of America and start rounding up all of the corrupt pieces of garbage that brought fascism to the country, right? So, I'm glad that there are, like, the Defense Production Act and the executive authority. Like, I'm glad that there are legitimacies to that as well. But, you know, in terms of, like, the Insurrection Act, for instance, right? Wouldn't the entire MAGA movement be considered an insurrection? At the very least, everyone in that administration. So, like, day one, I'm going to be able to invoke the Insurrection Act and get rid of all of the bad actors that brought fascism to America. So, I mean, that is the plan. The Confederate flag should be formally declared a hate symbol. Blake, I need you to go and check on those issues page, because I do label the Confederate flag formally a hate symbol, I believe. I gotta remember where I put it under. Might be under social transparency. It could be this. And it could be this. Yeah, it might be one of those. So, social transparency. So, it's not there. Did I not? I thought I did. All right. Anna, remind me to do that, because that is definitely something I want to do, is declare the Confederate flag part of treason. Like, if you're going to support that and support sedition, then sucks to suck. I thought for sure I did that under, like, the civil rights, but it must have been... I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Evidently I didn't, because because I thought at the very least maybe I did it under the domestic terrorism. So, or even criminal justice reform, but yeah, I guess not. Anywho, back to our regularly scheduled program. Couldn't a president also try to get M4A passed on their own by forming a new office and task force and expanding the ACA and Medicare? I mean, quite frankly, what we have seen is that the president can do whatever the fuck they please as long as there's a Congress that isn't willing to get in their way and a Supreme Court that isn't willing to get in their way. So, I mean, realistically, the powers of the president are whatever they say it is when there isn't a Supreme Court or a Congress to check or balance them. You know what I mean? But to your point, I mean, that's not going to happen, because when I'm declaring a state of emergency, like day one, state of emergency, we have to get rid of the fascists that are still in office, right? Because the senators aren't going to get pushed out, and the Supreme Court isn't going to get pushed out during election cycle, right? And there's only 34 senators that get elected each election cycle, right? So there would still be 34 MAGA style senators more than likely in office. So no, there needs to be a state of emergency declared, and everyone who supported funding Israel's genocide, MAGA, or adjacent to either of those things needs to be arrested and removed from office. And the only way to do that is through a state of emergency. And I'm saying the quiet part out loud 4 years in advance, I guess, right? So, that may come back to bite me, but at the same time, these are the things that need to happen. We need a revolution. We need an actual revolution. Or if we can get elected, right, and do the electoral thing, then we need somebody to be in office that is going to rip fascism out by the root, set it on fire, purge the land, and make sure that the only seeds that flourish are those that are populist in nature. Well, a state of emergency, I think, is just going to be a general, right? I mean, I don't... Do you have to... Well, I guess you do have to declare a state of emergency for specific things. So, no, mine will be a blanket state of emergency. Just things bad in America state of emergency. So, in terms of, would I reinstate and strengthen Title IV protections, I would just straight up enforce the 14th fucking amendment. You know what I'm saying? The legislation that I would be passing would be to defer to the Constitution whenever possible, and that any attempts to alter or go against or undermine the Constitution results in your immediate expulsion from that office position, arrest, charges, and sentencing. That's gonna be the way things are from now on. I'm trying to build in anti-corruption laws by building in immediate consequences to fascist actions, if that makes sense. So yeah. Sounds based, treat anti-constitutionalists as treasonous traitors, which is exactly what they fucking are, and that is exactly what I am more or less intending to do. Now, sure, the minutia of the wording of the language, by all means, maybe we can add you to the campaign and you can help write it.
Thousands of workers and students walked out of schools and workplaces Wednesday in support of the Palestinian people, calling on the Spanish government to sever ties with Israel. Huge crowds marched in Barcelona, Valencia, Bilbao, Sevilla, and Madrid.
Well, at least
my conscience wouldn't allow me to be home. It's taken so long. It's been 2 years for people to mobilize and say, stop the genocide. Spain should cut economic and diplomatic ties with the Israeli government. They speak nice words, but until we break ties, Israel will keep on doing whatever it wants.
The Swedish activist Greta Thunberg has provided details about the abuse she and other participants of the global Samud flotilla suffered in Israeli detention after they were abducted on the high seas while attempting to bring food and medicine to Gaza. Thunberg describes a visit by Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir to the Ketziot prison, where the activists were being held. She says he shouted, "You are terrorists, you want to kill Jewish babies," and those who shouted back were taken aside and beaten. Thunberg says she was repeatedly kicked by guards, forced to undress, and was held in an insect-infested cell where she was deprived of food and water. She says she was repeatedly called a whore in Swedish by the Israeli guards, who scrawled the word and other profane graffiti on her suitcase. Thunberg said, quote, "If Israel, with the whole world watching, can treat a well-known white person with a Swedish passport this way, just imagine what they do to Palestinians behind closed doors."
I mean, we've been talking about what they do to Palestinians behind closed doors. That was one of the first things we talked about on stream. But we usually don't get the testimony of the Palestinian prisoners because they're usually too afraid to fucking interview, because then they'll just get recaptured and sent back to that hell. Israel, through the testimony of a victim of Israeli imprisonment, is torturing, both physically and psychologically, treating people inhumanely, making them live in inhumane conditions, and then denying them food and water, which is also inhumane, while threatening an actual woman with obscenities. Israel, I don't know how else to say it. I already showed what I intend to do to Israel once I am a president. So I do not understand. I don't understand how people can, because Greta actually made it to the mainstream news. Her testimony actually makes it to CNN and MSNBC and all them, right? Or am I wrong? Because if she's not even being heard by Western societies, and she is very much so, like she said, a white person with a Swedish passport, and she's being treated this way, that is what white people need to hear and see for it to finally click that the Israelis, the Zionists, truly hate Palestinians and truly treat any opposition as animals, as vermin, as something to be discarded and thrown away, as garbage. And that the only other definition of those behaviors are Nazi. So I don't know what else to say. Did you hear about what they did to Chris Smalls in Israeli prison? Yeah, I think we did get cover that a couple weeks ago. And then, yeah, a white woman from Scandinavia, the least threatening thing ever. Yep. Very disgusting. They should all go to trial against Israel. They really should. And that's the thing. Like, every time somebody does, they end up dead. That's like, again, there was an ambassador to Israel that got thrown out of a 22-story building, and it was called suicide, right? Greta Thunberg is absolutely talking about it on the news, and she is also being targeted and threatened by Israel. You see what I'm saying? So the next time she goes on a flotilla and the next time she gets captured, they may very well kill her. They may very well beat her in her face where it can be seen once she is released. Like, this is what happens to those who try and go against Zionism. I wonder how Jim Crow-esque the Israeli propaganda is against the Palestinians. I mean, we listen to it every single day in the news. When Western media does not condemn Israel at all and continues to refer to as Hamas as terrorists. It doesn't have to be overt racism. It's just in the fact that Israel is always being viewed as the victim or portrayed as just in defending themselves. That's all the more propaganda they need. And I can't believe the Swedish government allowed one of their citizens to be tortured and they aren't doing anything. Yeah, which goes to show how much of a stranglehold Israel has on Western governments. So, yeah.
Quote. President Trump says he's authorized the CIA to conduct covert operations.
Wow, I didn't know that she was going to cover this. We are going to cover this explicitly in a video here in a second. I didn't realize this was going to make her news either.
Inside Venezuela. This comes as the U.S. says it destroyed 5 boats in the Caribbean Sea, allegedly carrying drugs, reportedly killing 27 people. 4 of those boats allegedly...
So now we have killed 5 fishermen that have been unconfirmed and are just claiming we're drug lords. Meanwhile, we have the former Venezuelan opposition party, MAGA version, winning the Peace Prize and singing Trump's praises while Trump is authorizing the CIA to enter into Venezuela. Like, if we can't see what's about to happen is about to happen, like, I don't know what to tell you.
Came from Venezuela. Speaking to reporters Wednesday, Trump said, quote, "We are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control," unquote. In response, the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro...
So, I don't know what our video is going to cover that's different or new or more in-depth, but he's openly talking about invading Venezuela, like a ground invasion. Again, maybe I need to update the website because I don't know if I've been keeping up with the sociopathy of this administration, but apparently I'm going to have to also make an actual policy where military members who obeyed orders to invade Venezuela, to attack Venezuelan cities, and to deploy into American cities to terrorize Americans will be dishonorably discharged and charged with treason and crimes against humanity. Because this is fucking insane. Like, this is absolutely fucking insane. Oh, and that lady's been begging Trump to invade. Great. Allegations against Palestinian men against Jewish women. Oh, you're still on that part. Yes. No, that has been proven too, that Israel has absolutely falsified crimes against Palestinians, whether it's SA or just regular normal crimes like theft or assaulting an IDF officer by, existing within their airspace. One of the biggest lies against black men is that they're sexually aggressive. I bet it's similar in Palestine. I think it is. I think it actually is. Yeah, they did claim it on October 7th, and that has since been disproven. Yep, it has been 100% disproven. Yep.
Maduro lashed out at the possibility of further U.S. intervention.
No to regime change, which reminds us so much of the endless failed wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and so on. No to CIA-orchestrated coups d'etats, which recall the 30,000 disappeared in the CIA-backed coups against Argentina, Pinochet's coup, and the 5,000 young people who were killed or disappeared.
Dozens of...
That's a name I haven't heard in a very long time, Pinochet. I mean, this is how fucked things are, is people, like, the Maduro has to invoke the name of Pinochet, that things haven't been this bad in Venezuela since the time of Pinochet. Of the abductions, of the disappearances, of CIA involvement. Like, this is nuts. I'm not laughing because it's funny, I'm laughing because this is crazy bonkers bullshit. Like, bonkers bullshit.
Reporters handed in their access badges and walked out of the Pentagon Wednesday afternoon instead of agreeing to the Defense Department's new press policy.
See, I disagree with that. They should have stood their ground and refused to turn in their press passes and be like, you cannot mandate this to the free press. That is in violation of the First Amendment. And if you are in charge of the military and you swear to protect and defend the Constitution, then you cannot enforce this rule. That, again, where are the courageous journalists, the courageous federal employees, the courageous elected officials? Where the fuck is anybody with a spine? I don't understand it.
Policy states media outlets and reporters cannot obtain any information that the Pentagon does not explicitly authorize. About 40 to 50 journalists from major news outlets left together before the 4 p.m. deadline. Jack Keane, a retired U.S. Army general and analyst for Fox News, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's former employer, said, quote, they want to spoon-feed information to the journalist, and that would be their story. That's not journalism, he said. Only the One America News Network agreed to sign on to the Pentagon's new press policy.
So the actual propaganda news network that has been formed since this administration, or from this administration, like, didn't One News America, isn't that a straight up MAGA invention? Like, that's, I don't know how much more on the nose it can get.
The Supreme Court on Wednesday appeared ready to strike down a key provision of the Voting Rights Act. During oral arguments, justices expressed skepticism over whether Section 2 of the landmark 1965 law should be allowed to continue. Section 2 outlaws the creation of election districts that dilute minority groups' voting power. This comes as Republican state lawmakers in Texas, Missouri, and Utah are pushing ahead with mid-decade redistricting efforts in 2025 ahead of next year's midterm elections. Other redistricting battles are underway in California, North Carolina, and Ohio as Republicans.
So I don't know if she's about to cover this, so if she is, I apologize. But the argument here is the whole, you can't redistrict to undermine minority voices. White people are arguing that they are being discriminated against because the districts are being written to favor minority groups. And because of that favoritism, white people are now being treated as the minority. That's the argument that they're making to justify this bullshit, right? And exactly, fuck SCOTUS, because again, SCOTUS is literally in cahoots. They're in the pocket of MAGA. Literally, 3 of them were appointed by MAGA. It's fucking insane.
Seek to hold their House and Senate majorities. The federal government shutdown has entered its 16th day. On Wednesday, a federal judge temporarily halted the Trump administration from laying off 4,000 government workers across 8 agencies, siding with unions. In her ruling, Judge Susan Ilston wrote that the White House Budget Office and Office of Personnel Management have, quote, taken advantage of the lapse in government spending and government functioning to assume that all bets are off, that the laws don't apply to them anymore, and they can impose the structures that they like, unquote.
They've been doing that since January 21st. What are you fucking talking about? Like, this administration has been doing what it pleases since it took office and been claiming we have the mandate to do so. So what are you even talking about right now? Do your job. Send the marshals after the administration, arrest them, and charge them. This isn't rocket science. Good grief. Yeah, Bush, and this is going to sound bad because I can't remember his name outright, but the black Supreme Court justice was not appointed by Trump. He was in there already and has been one of the biggest. Clarence Thomas. There it is. Yeah, Clarence Thomas has been one of the biggest stains on SCOTUS. Not because he's black, but because he's really fucking corrupt. Blatantly corrupt. Makes Scalise, or Scalise. Sorisi? No, Scalise, yeah. Clarence Thomas made... No, Scalia. Jesus. Clarence Thomas made Justice Scalia seem like a Boy Scout in comparison, and that's the fucking problem. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
The ruling came as the Senate failed to pass a funding bill for the 9th time on Wednesday. In immigration news, the Trump administration is preparing to deport a man arrested by ICE on the same day he was freed from a Pennsylvania prison after serving 43 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit.
What the fuck? I almost have, we have to hear that again.
Arrested by ICE on the same day he was freed from a Pennsylvania prison after serving 43 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit.
So this poor fuck has to spend 43 years in prison, was exonerated from that crime, but still lost his entire life, and then immediately gets deported anyway? What kind of evil sociopath does that shit? Right. Exactly. Let's go back to where she says the name.
9th time on Wednesday. In immigration news, the Trump administration is preparing to deport a man arrested by ICE on the same day he was freed.
Wait, she didn't say the name? Why wouldn't you say the name?
From a Pennsylvania prison after serving 43 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit. On October 3rd, 64-year-old Subramaniam Vedam walked free from Huntington State Correctional Institution, where he'd been held for over 4 decades after his conviction for a 1982 murder was vacated. His freedom came 3 years after the Pennsylvania Innocence Project uncovered evidence prosecutors had buried an FBI report that would have exonerated him. He was immediately arrested by ICE agents acting on a decades-old deportation order. He's now being held at an ICE jail in central Pennsylvania and set to be deported to India. Vedam's niece told the Miami Herald, quote, "He left India when he was 9 months old. He hasn't been there for over 44 years, and the people he knew when he went as a child have passed away. His whole family, his sister, his nieces, his grandnieces, we're all U.S. citizens, and we all live here," she said.
They're kidnapping autistic kids off the street. They're arresting parents in front of kindergartens while the parents are screaming. They are zip tying toddlers to the ground, trying to bait the parents to come out and get the children. Like, I don't even know if the Nazis were this cruel and evil when they were going after the Jewish population. Maybe they were. I'm not trying to defend Nazis in the slightest. I'm saying we are getting very dangerously close to being more evil, or as evil as the IDF has been towards Palestinians. Right? We're not openly murdering people in the streets. That's what the Nazis did and what the Israelis are doing against Palestinians. Okay. But the psychological warfare and the crimes against humanity, the tormenting of children, and going after this literal, the poorest bastard on planet Earth. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, they are scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel just to be cruel and malicious. Which, again, I'm not saying this to be snarky or funny or any of that. I am saying this next part as a absolute condemnation of ICE. For those of you who'd like to read it on their own, or if my screen is blocking it, notice this is the top thing of my ICE abolishment. Right there. Nuremberg trials. Every single member of ICE, every agent, leader, administrator, every support personnel, every single individual who receives, has received, or contributed to ICE activities within the past 20 years shall be arrested, charged with war crimes, crimes against humanity, terrorism, instilling public fear, violation of the Constitution, and treason, with a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole for those with indirect involvement, and a mandatory death penalty for those with direct involvement. And I will stand on that fucking business. This shall include former presidents, congressional members, judges, prosecutors, corporate leaders who funded or donated to the aforementioned individuals, journalists who reported in support of these atrocities, the networks that aired or printed them, the CEOs and corporate leaders who facilitated or allowed it to happen, and any foreign nationals who fall under the above conditions who happen to be in the United States or should ever set foot back into the United States, and staff directly involved with the enlisted parties. The trials will be held in D.C., or if there is a more suitably symbolic city or location that would more aptly announce the end of ICE, the previous administration, the rise of fascism in America, and the absolute depravity involved, such a location shall be used instead. The entirety of the ICE agency shall be abolished, funds redistributed to other agencies, and any remaining assets repurposed for other uses. When I say, and there's the compensation and restitution. When I say that my administration, was among my day one actions, is going scorched earth against the Gestapo, against the SS, against the IDF, against the Zionists, against the Nazis in America, I mean that with extreme fucking prejudice. I will probably take it upon myself to personally execute the head of the ICE. I think that's Homan. I think that's who that is. I could be wrong. No, he's the border czar. So whoever the chair of ICE is, I'm probably going to get him got myself. And Tom Homan, and of course several others. But you see my point? Like, when I say fuck ICE and abolish ICE, I'm not playing around. I am not playing around. I am... The first thing I am saying is Nuremberg-style trials with a mandatory death penalty. I am not... That is my absolute priority. Absolute fucking priority.
The Trump administration is considering a plan to radically curtail refugee admissions to the United States while giving preference to English speakers, white South Africans, and Europeans who oppose migration. That's according to documents obtained by the New York Times, which reports the proposals would transform a program aimed at helping the most vulnerable people in the world into one that gives preference to mostly white people who say they're being persecuted. Among the beneficiaries would be members of the Alternative for Germany party, known as AFD.
So the AFD is the modern day Nazi party. Like the literal, like we talk about ICE are Nazis and MAGA are Nazis and Trump are Nazis. We say that and we're correct. But the ADF is the German political party. They're alt-right, extreme right-wing political party that are basically saying, you know, Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. And those motherfuckers are trying to seek asylum in America. The white landowners who benefited from South African apartheid, they're the ones benefiting from this asylum changes. And in fact, some of the ones that have already arrived murdered their fucking spouse. These are the worst of the worst people. This is Operation Paperclip in reverse. Operation Paperclip brought us doctors, scientists, physicists, mathematicians, whatever. Not saying that that's necessarily justified, but I'm saying it was bringing skills and science and technology into the American fold as a form of redemption, but realistically, but this is Operation Paperclip. But hey, if you're racist and proud, come to America. But if you say Trump is a racist, a white nationalist, or a Nazi, you're the bad guy. It's fucking insane. Yeah, if it wasn't real, it'd be a comedy. Well, I mean, Idiocracy is a comedy, and reality is making Idiocracy look tame.
Whose leaders have revived Nazi slogans, minimized the Holocaust, and promoted anti-immigrant hatred. Members of the Democratic Women's Caucus on Wednesday marched through the Capitol and to Speaker Mike Johnson's office with Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva demanding she be sworn in. Grijalva won a special election in Arizona more than 3 weeks ago. She would be the final vote on a discharge petition to release the Epstein files. On Tuesday, Grijalva reported she finally had access to her congressional office, but that the phone lines aren't working and there's no computers or internet in the office. Meanwhile, convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, is reportedly receiving preferential treatment at a minimum security prison in Bryan, Texas. According to the Wall Street Journal, Maxwell met with several visitors in the federal prison camp's chapel back in August, while hundreds of prisoners were placed on lockdown and forced to stay in their dormitories. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy.
That fucking delivery. And those are some of the headlines. Bruh. I think it was 2 weeks ago we listened to her headline, and it was just dystopian nightmare after dystopian nightmare after war crime after crime against... There wasn't even like a trickle of humor or good news. At least the Women's Caucus marching through the Congress building and into Mike Johnson's office, that was marginally good. This, my God, what a day. And that's just today's headlines. Today, October 16th. Fuck. Sorry, I didn't keep up with your text there. They've talked to black South Africans, and literally there's some banks they can't open an account at. Yeah, right. Legalized racism. Yep. Look up Orania. The Afrikaners are trying to bring back apartheid. Yeah, no, we're well aware because they're talking about it as they were coming off the plane. Yeah, Didiette over there. Epsteinia. Yeah. It's often like that on a Democracy Now!, which is why I like it. They report the unfiltered truth. Yeah, but her delivery was kind of like, and that's the news. It's like... Let's do some positive
If you don't believe creating SOPs can take seconds instead of...
What? Since when am I getting ads again on this bullshit? Are you fucking kidding me?
Hours, you haven't tried Scribe. Check out the thousands of 5-star
Bruh, where's the skip button?
reviews that show how Scribe users are saving...
A question for any... My name is Yulia.
Dozens of reporters handed in their access badges and walked out.
Did you know that if you're over 65 and suffer a fall, you have over a 50% chance of dying?
Bro, why am I not able to skip these fucking ads? Are you shitting
Marjorie
me?
Taylor Greene continues to...
Oh my God, I was about to lose my mind. Hold on. Why on earth would Lamau be filtered? Hold on a second. I do chatter permissions, auto mod, and message filtering. Harassment, discrimination, and slurs, profanity, and sexual content. I have it maxed. Bullying? Alright, let's load down on the bullying and aggression. That's fine. We're not going to allow any disability or discrimination of slurs. We're not going to do sex-based terms, although profanity, I don't think we need to do let's do I mean, I don't mind swearing. Well, that's the thing, profanity, I don't want people to start spamming the N-word on stream. Granted, I don't want to type it, though. Gross. Holy shit. Wait, why would what? Terms to block. I don't know why I put guillotine on there. Testing, fucking shit damn bitch. Alright. I think I resolved that. Did you type LMAO? Try that one. I mean, I guess I can type it, right? No matter what. Bam. Okay. There we go. So, carrying on.
lob rhetorical bombs at her own political party. The latest salvo came during an interview with the Washington Post, where the GOP congresswoman decried what she says are a lot of weak Republican men in Congress who are afraid of strong Republican women like herself. The Georgia congresswoman took particular issue with House Speaker Mike Johnson, accusing him of refusing to appoint female Republicans to chair House committees. It's the latest in a string of breaks with her own party. On the extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies, Greene sided with Democrats, fighting to extend them to prevent health insurance premiums from increasing for more than 20 million Americans. She's one of only 4 House Republicans to sign a discharge petition seeking to bypass party leadership and force a vote on releasing files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. She has also split with Republican orthodoxy in opposing military aid to Israel, calling the country's war in Gaza a genocide. In her interview with the Post, Greene said she was elected to Congress by criticizing Republicans and said voters in her district are not surprised by her critiques.
Oh, that was it? Critiques? That was it? That was the all okay. Well, that's kind of funny that that makes the news. A woman dares criticize the GOP when she was part of the GOP and still is part of the GOP. How dare she? Bruh. I banned guillotine because of you? Yeah, well, that makes sense. I was probably afraid that we would get shut down or something for it.
The Supreme Court has rejected an appeal from conspiracy theorist
Hold on. Let's all point and laugh. All right.
Jones, leaving in place the $1.4 billion judgment against him over his comments regarding the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Jones had claimed it was a hoax staged by crisis actors. 20 first graders and 6 educators were killed in the Newtown, Connecticut massacre. The InfoWars host had argued that a judge was wrong to find him liable for defamation and infliction of emotional distress without holding a trial. The justices issued their order Tuesday without even asking the victims' families to respond to Jones's appeal. Jones has faced mounting legal pressure.
That's fucking funny. Dude's like, how dare you say these things when I didn't even get a trial? And then without a trial says...
after juries in Connecticut and Texas found him liable in 2022. He's repeatedly tried to head off the sale of his far-right platform, InfoWars, to pay for those damages. Jones filed for bankruptcy in late 2022, and his lawyers told the justices that the plaintiffs have no possible hope of collecting the entire judgment. He is separately appealing a $49 million judgment in a similar defamation lawsuit in Texas after he failed to turn over documents sought by the parents of another Sandy Hook victim.
What a fucking scumbag, right?
The U.S.
Like, hey, please don't sell my stuff, and you're never going to be able to get it because my stuff isn't even worth that much to begin with. And then trying to find new and more imaginative ways to weasel out of paying. Like, what a fucking scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, just irredeemable scumbaggery.
Supreme Court rejected an appeal from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. The conservative commentator was trying to dodge a $1.4 billion payout to the families of the victims killed in the 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
Defamed.
Jones repeatedly claimed the mass shooting that killed 20 first graders and 6 teachers in Connecticut was a hoax staged by crisis actors. The family sued for defamation and emotional distress. He has since acknowledged that the shooting did happen. Jones filed for bankruptcy in 2012 and remains in bankruptcy.
He had no other fucking
choice.
choice.
His lawyers say the plaintiffs are unlikely to collect.
Again, the fact that it took this long to even get to trial and to go through the process and then be found guilty, and now he's dragging out the appeals process. The fact that that's our justice system, and that it isn't just simple. Like, what happened to the fair and speedy trial? Well, okay, why isn't the appeals process fair and speedy as well? He's dragging this shit out for years at this point. We have to expedite and improve our criminal justice system because this is fucked.
The entire amount. Up to this point, Jones's appeals have prevented any payments to the families.
Which is why he's doing.
Those families have moved for Jones to sell assets owned by his company, Free Speech Systems. Jones has previously said that his website, InfoWars, could be sold off to The Onion, a satirical news site.
That is about the only bit of justice, though, that InfoWars could be sold off to The Onion and be treated as satire, because that's damn near what it is right-wing, well, I mean, I guess satire is supposed to be mocking the administration, not making up conspiracy theories and hoaxes, but you get the idea. Ban the following dog whistles if you want. See, but I think most of the dog whistles are covered under moderation already. But to your point, I should probably... I'll make a note of that. Parts of it already has been sold to The Onion, I think. I think we covered that. I don't remember much. It's a little vague, but that does sound familiar. I at least read about it if we didn't cover it. I know so much about dog whistles because of TikTok. TikTok is a breeding ground for the far right. Really? I thought TikTok... Oh, wait, no. TikTok was a breeding ground for leftist and revolutionary conversation until it got sold to fucking Palantir and shit like that. So, no, that makes sense. The New York City mayoral debate is on right now. You know, that's actually valid. We should cover live things. And hell, maybe I can answer some questions. All right, so New York City live debate.
Thanks for staying with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Sure?
I'm your host, Christina Evans. As promised, we're going to be staying there in the northeastern portion of our country, talking about...
Oh, okay.
Collapse. There's not enough money out there to make up for fare evasion. Pay your...
What are you talking about? I'm debating over here.
Fare. If you don't pay your fare,
no,
they have fair programs for the poor and the indigent. But everybody should be forced to pay their fare.
Mr. Cuomo, you had both praise and some criticism from Mr. Mamdani's free bus pilots. So you're sort of in the middle on this issue. What's your plan to make subways and buses more affordable?
I think free buses is a mistake. It costs about $700 million. Just to give you an idea that we only raise about $500 from congestion pricing. It's been done before in other cities. It was a disaster. They stopped. They basically became mobile homeless gathering places. What I say is free buses
not the homeless.
For working families who can't afford it, and free subways for working families. But don't subsidize rich people on a bus. It's been tried and it's failed.
Did this motherfucker just say rich people use the bus?
About the mobile homeless
I'm a
gathering places.
You know, this is something that we heard when we were fighting to make buses free in Albany when we delivered the first fare-free bus lines in New York City history. And what we saw is when we made one bus route free in each borough of New York City, there was no increase in homelessness on those buses. There was no increase in fare evasion in the surrounding area. What there was an increase in ridership of up to 38%.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani.
So they're also silencing his
answers.
answers.
Sense of how all of you would pay for your big ideas. Mr. Mamdani, we'll start with you. We've obviously been talking about free buses. You've talked about free childcare, city-run grocery stores. So essentially, you're proposing about $10 billion in new spending. And as you've indicated, you want to pay for it with tax increases. But as Sally pointed out, Governor Hochul said no to raising income tax on millionaires. So tell New Yorkers tonight how you're going to pay for all of this in 1 minute, if you can.
Look, a lot of people have called even my campaign a non-starter when we first began. And now I stand before you proud to be the Democratic nominee who got the most votes in city primary history. And I believe we will see the same thing with our push to ensure that we are taxing the wealthiest and the most profitable corporations the fair amount that they should pay. Now, there are those who will say that because it will be hard, you should give up. We saw what giving up looked like when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He gave up on fighting for working-class New Yorkers and instead caved in to his billionaire donors. And what did we get? We have the fastest and most frequent helicopter service to the Hamptons, and we have the slowest and more expensive bus service across the 5 boroughs.
But again, Mr. Mamdani, I know
That's a
Governor
really
Hochul
good
indicated
debate.
this week there may be some open windows, but more or less income tax on millionaires is off the table, according to the governor.
Look, I've said very clearly, making buses fast and free costs about $700 million a year. Making universal child care a reality costs about $5 or $6 billion a year. If you raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, you'd be raising $5 billion in and of itself.
I have a couple of follow-ups. Mr. Kluber, you're next, but I have a couple of follow-ups.
I would just add one additional thing. We have also put forward a plan to save money here in New York City with $1 billion in savings through procurement reform, through following the independent budget office's assessment about hiring more fiscal auditors, and in actually collecting the fines and fees from bad landlords across the city.
I'm not going to lie. This moderator is trying to be like, but raising money on millionaires is wrong. And then Zoran's like, well, he's also not saying it either. He's not saying that that's what he's going to do, but he is kind of talking about corporate tax rates, raises. And that's the thing. Like, if the rich people paid their fair share, you could have free, fully subsidized public transit, healthcare, education, publicly funded grocery stores, childcare. What else? I mean, job training centers, housing. Like, the whole aspect of government is supposed to be provide the basic necessities for a given population, not to ensure that the most wealthy people get to live a most aggrandized life that they can. That doesn't even make sense. And they are constantly cutting off him. Granted, I'm not as much of a fan as Mamdani as some others are, because he's been walking back a lot of his promises and pledges, but he's doing really good on the debate, at least. The governor doesn't control policy in New York City. Right. It was a weird dig there. They hate letting this man speak because he spits straight facts, or at least facts that they don't want to hear. It's because the guy is a millionaire and is probably funding Como. I mean, that's true. I think he's doing it to garner support, which is unfortunate, but makes sense. I mean, why would you garner support from the elite when the people are going to be the ones voting for you? And if they're going to vote for you based on message and ideals, then it doesn't matter how much money you raise or how much you capitulate to moneyed interests, because it is people that are voting for you, which gives you an actual numerical advantage. If you have 700,000 New Yorkers voting for you and a few bankers are mad and shake their fist, guess what? Fuck those bankers. Because otherwise those 700,000 New Yorkers are going to fucking riot. Siwa said that we already had a socialist in charge before and we were fine. Siwa said that. Because he needs small millionaires to really bring this thing home. The petite bourgeoisie is a large voting bloc. Well, I guess. I wouldn't know, but, you know, I'll just leave it at that.
It's a quick couple of follow-ups. If you could find some of the funding, but not all of it, which of your priorities would come first? What would be the first among equals that you would try to get done?
Well, freezing the rent doesn't require any fiscal infusion, so that will be something we'll be pursuing immediately. And universal childcare, after housing, is the second cost. Childcare is the second cost pushing New Yorkers out of this city. $22,500 a year is the estimate we've seen.
Okay.
That will be a priority for us.
And I just want to know, if you could get the money and funding elsewhere, would you drop the call for the tax increase?
Absolutely. The most important thing is funding these agenda items.
Why is he so fucking worried about raising taxes on millionaires? Like, if you could get the funding somewhere else, would you not tax me and my friends? It's like, listen, motherfucker, how about I gut the entire NYPD? How about I gut the 5th largest standing military on Earth? Why don't I gut that down to being, I don't know, an actual normal police force? You mean to tell me that you need the 5th largest standing military, which, by the way, standing militaries count globally. And I think Wikipedia shows it. Yep. So, the 5th... Oh, that's not what we wanted. We wanted active military. So... Oh, I guess it's not anymore if Russia is there. It was at one point. Okay. How many police are in the NYPD? $33,000 officers. Okay, so hold on. Maybe the thing was like infantry or something like that. Because 33,000, I mean, that still puts you in the mid-range of military numbers outright. And it said 15,000 employees, and the military does consist of soldiers and administration. So that would actually be 33 plus 15 is 48,000. That jumps up to like the level of Belarus and more than Uzbekistan, which are countries that are being treated as terrorist countries by the United States of America. So, yeah, 50,000. Like, so it's not the 5th largest standing military. Maybe I was thinking economy or something. I don't remember. But in terms of military, they have more military in New York City than 62. Well, I'm sorry. How many countries does this list? 173. 62 minus 173. 111. New York City has more police personnel than 111 countries. I think I know where I would cut funding. I think I know where I would start, personally. But you know.
I think these are the two most important and straightforward, direct ways to do so. But if the money comes from elsewhere, the most important thing is funding.
Melissa has a question for Mr. Sliwa.
Mr. Sliwa, you've been talking about cutting taxes and spending. So what is your plan, and how would you pay for your program?
Remember what we were talking about? We were talking about... damn it, now I can't... Austerity measures? Sliwa is literally campaigning on austerity. The Belarus got Lukashenko. He's just crazy. Fair enough. Do you know how big New York is? Right. Yeah. New York needs to... I mean, actually, though, that is kind of funny. What is the population of Belarus? And then Uzbekistan. So Belarus has a population... I don't necessarily care about the military. Population. So the population of Belarus is 9 million, right? Population, New York City, 2025. 8.48 million. But doesn't the metro area usually get calculated into that? So fine. The entire country of Belarus has as many military members to protect a whole country as New York City has in police officers. That is pretty fucking nuts. But I guess I would be wrong in saying that there are more than a given country. But that's still a ridiculous statistic there.
Programs like 7,000 more cops.
Well, Zoran, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality. 7,000 cops. You already have a plan in Boston where you pay for taxes in the future. This is a great plan in which universities and others who have bought up properties that are now taken from the real estate market and taken from property tax paid. We could raise $1 billion from Columbia University, NYU, that are in the real estate business, and Madison Square Garden, your friends, Andrew Cuomo, Jimmy Dolan, who pays no property taxes. That's how you raise $1 billion to get 700 police officers trained, vetted, and out into the streets in the 5 boroughs. And then...
So they don't interrupt this guy who is blatantly slandering and insulting Mamdani and talking all sorts of mess. But anytime Mamdani opens his mouth, they're quick to interrupt. Plus, this guy sounds like a mafioso. It's like, hey, I'm talking over here. I said, I want this motherfucker to swim with the fishes. Right? I get that the mafia, the Italian mafia, has an Italian, but this sounds like a New Yorker crime boss.
The police will be on the subways and they will be patrolling the old-fashioned way where they're needed, going up and down the moving subway cars where people want to see the visual protection, especially women who are being assaulted.
What weird fucking universe does Sliwa live in? Which human being wants police officers marching up and down the subways? I guarantee you women are the last demographic that want to see police officers anywhere near them. And if assault is that much of a problem on subways, all you would have to do is install surveillance across every car so that you can prosecute and deter bad actors from happening. That's what you do. You increase surveillance, not personnel that are trained to abuse and assault individuals and are being given unilateral powers by the Supreme Court to get away with crimes. What? Sliwa lives in a studio with his wife and 16 cats. Oh, that's this guy? Okay. Stop and frisk minorities, especially the ladies. Yeah, no shit. We don't want the cops on the subway, and they're lying about the crime stats. Of course they're lying about the crime stats. Jesus. Can we find an old employee of his that he was creepy with to end his career? Like, I'm shocked it hasn't happened.
And like we saw this morning on 86th Street, a woman with a gun to her head, an armed robbery because we don't have enough cops.
I have a question for you in this topic, and let's talk about
history. Yeah, we need more cops to resolve the problem that cops... I mean, for fuck's sake, the NYPD were wearing T-shirts after George Floyd was murdered and riots were raging across the entire country of I can't breathe, and the NYPD wore shirts that said I can breathe. We need more of those sociopaths? Oh, they were probably IDF trained. They were probably literally trained by the IDF, because guess what? The NYPD does train with the Israeli Security Defense Forces.
Now you're proposing some tax relief. What's the price tag for your proposals, and where will you get the money for example, 5,000 new police officers? You have a minute to answer.
5,000 new police officers? What? Bro, if we're already at 48,000, 53,000 puts you at a larger military than Singapore. And if you need personnel at a rate of 3 to 1, 45 to 18, right? So 3 to 1. You would need another 1,500 on top of that, which would, well, it would still put you under the Dominican Republic. Jesus Christ. What do they think is happening in New York City where you need 5,000 more police officers and administrative personnel to support them? What? Sliwa is on video beating an immigrant up with his goons because they claimed the guy was illegal, and they posted the video. And he didn't get arrested or removed from the race? Jesus.
I think Sally's question was very well taken. The Assemblyman's whole plan is based on a myth. He's going to raise taxes. Albany's going to raise taxes statewide on corporations, but the money's only going to go to New York City. That could never happen. It's not just that the governor wouldn't support it. It's impossible. He said he's going to raise the taxes the same as New Jersey, corporate tax. No, it would be double the tax. You would see New Yorkers on 995 fleeing to Florida. We would be alone. So you have to be realistic with revenue.
So there are basically Mamdani running against two people that aren't even trying to win the New York City race, but are trying to make the case that Mamdani is crazy. That's nuts, and is a testament to Mamdani's success, at least swaying the residents of New York City. Again, I have my misgivings about Mamdani because of how he keeps walking back certain promises, certain policies, sanitizing this here, sanitizing that there, the DNC trying to get involved, meeting with Obama administration era individuals, speaking to banks, walking back some of his rhetoric about Palestine and Israel. But fundamentally, what he's been saying on this debate is governing. Like, that's literally, we're going to raise taxes where we can and should against the wealthy, and we're going to use that money to benefit the population. Which, undeniably, if you raise money from the wealthy, put it into general social welfare, the thing that people need in order to survive, like, being able to go to school, being able to get food, shelter, electricity, transportation, being able to work without spending a third of your income on childcare, or half, as it were, right? Those things not being the concern of the citizen will only generate more revenue, because now people can spend money on things other than rent and childcare and transportation. They'll actually be able to spend that $22,000 going to the movies, buying extra snacks, buying shoes, buying video games, traveling, going to restaurants, going to the bodega, right? any number of things. If you're not spending $22,000 on childcare, you are going to spend $22,000 literally anywhere else. So the argument that is a fool's errand and it's never going to happen is evidence that he does not know the first fucking thing about economics. And he was the fucking governor of New York. The fifth largest or something like that economy, seventh largest economy in the world.
$115 billion budget.
Jesus.
You have to go through that city budget and find savings. I started the state, which is double the budget of the city, at a $10 billion deficit. I closed it and added services. And we can do the same with New York City.
Governor, as mayor, you would not increase spending in the New York City budget? Yes or no?
There would be, whatever additional spending would be revenue neutral.
So
it's impossible. You got to cut taxes for people to stay here.
Thank you.
The corporations are not going to stay here. They're being lured.
First of all, New York City isn't a safe haven for corporations. New York City is a place where people live. Why the fuck do you keep talking about corporations? What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
South, the cities that are more corporate friendly. You got to cut the property
and
tax.
this poor interpreter.
Oh shit! You don't see the interpreter.
There's an interpreter
school here
who is like trying to keep up with all the bullshit that's happening.
$60 million to fund his legal defense from accusations of more than a dozen women of sexual harassment. But if I say we should spend the same amount of money on delivering cheaper groceries in this city through a pilot program, that is unfathomable.
Quick, David, I have a right to respond.
They're quick to shut up Mamdani.
First, I did not bring those lawsuits. That was brought by the Attorney General, which I said was political.
Well, those
That's what generated
by individual
the legal fees.
women, and some of them have still been making their way through the courts this year. And
yes, and I've been dropped from the case.
Mamdani just dunked.
And
I got to give it to him. Mamdani,
all this money that
Mamdani is doing a really good job of dunking on Cuomo and his opponents in this debate. He is actually doing a great job on that. I'll go ahead and actually update our stream title to New York City mayoral debate as well, so people can join us for that as well. Another viewer, hello. Yes, hey, we've been doing good, Blake. We've been actually averaging above 5 now, so we're slowly building our platform. Zoran is roasting Cuomo, and I'm here for it. Mamdani also did really well in his Fox News interview. Yeah, so that's the thing. Mamdani does have charisma. He does have chops. It's just he seems a little cowardly and willing to give in to his party rather than listening to the people. And that's my only concern. Maybe we'll see New York City Mayor Mamdani in our lifetime, and maybe he does a great job. As far as I hope he does. But I really think the DNC is going to get to him.
That he wants to pass. The one thing he did do is he voted for a pay raise for himself. They're the highest paid legislature in the United States.
I did ask the state controller's office this week. I did ask the state controller's office this week. The total was above $60 million. But just those sexual harassment cases to defend Governor Cuomo and his staff was about $21
Sorry, it was
million.
The sexual harassment and
I just want to clarify because you said 60, but on those cases it was 21.
Okay. Thank you. We have to talk about quality of life.
Hey, the fact check is it wasn't 60 million. It was $21 million to defend you, Governor, in your sexual assault cases. Like, why is this guy even on this stage? Like, why is he not in prison or in jail or so reviled by his party that he doesn't even have the ability to show his face? Granted, he's taking it to the chin like a champ, but like, bro, you are a heinous individual. Heinous.
Life in the city. Let's turn to everyday life in the city and some issues a mayor can directly impact. We start with a couple of questions about 311. The number New Yorkers call or text for non-emergency help. First off, have you ever called 311, and if so, for what? Mr. Mamdani?
I called 311 for issues with my heating in my apartment. And I've spoken to New Yorkers time and time again who are frustrated by the fact that they can track their Uber Eats block by block, but when they call 311 for them to come to their apartment, it's just a question of hoping and praying that they do. There's no actual appointment. That's something that we would change.
All right, Mr. Sliwa, have you ever called 311?
You know, there used to be that song 911 is a joke by Public Enemy. 311 is a joke. You can call it over and over and over again, and you never get a response.
Have you?
The analytics are when the operators talk to you, as I talk to them.
Have you called?
Yes, I've called them many times and gotten no response.
Mr. Cuomo?
Most citizens I talk.
I'm actually surprised he would have called them. Like, he seems like he's... Oh, well, he lives in an apartment with 16 cats. I could imagine he might have needed them. Zoran asked Sam not to post the... Oh, yeah. That's not why I have misgivings about Zoran. That's not why. It's the fact of how we have seen him since he won the primary and how he has been acting since. That's what concerns me about Zoran.
Okay.
I'm not being petty.
Never get good responses from 311.
For a short answer. Mr. Cuomo?
I've heard a lot of complaints about 311, so I actually made a call to 311 myself to see if the complaints were bona fide. And I was dropped twice. Then they were going to send someone to help a homeless woman in distress, and no one showed up.
You're all expressing frustration. Last year, 311 received 38 million contacts from New Yorkers, from calls to the website.
Damn. So 38 million contacts. There are 8 million-ish people. Where was it? Population. It was 8.48 million. Yeah, 8.48 million. Okay. That's nearly every single New Yorker contacting 311 4 times. And apparently without any recourse to actually do anything.
Wanted to know if you had a sense across the 5 boroughs what the top 2 categories of complaints were. What do you think they were, Mr. Sliwa?
Potholes, constantly potholes. People's undercarriages ripped out, ball bearings, alignments.
Second one, top 2?
Rats.
Okay.
Oh, the city is flooded with rats.
Mr. Cuomo?
Is that still a problem?
Homeless.
I thought that was like a 1980s problem, like from the Ninja Turtles. Is that still a problem? Sam don't know? Oh, that's referring to my Japanese anime names. He's referring to me in the honorifics. Senpai, Sama, Dono. I appreciate you, Steele. I appreciate you. We have all kinds, but usually chill. I had one riding the subway to work with me once. Then she got off at her stop. I guess she was going to work. Okay. All right.
And trash rats.
All right. Mr. Mamdani?
I think it was housing and noise.
Okay. So the answer is noise and illegal parking. And we're going to stick with quality of life.
Illegal parking.
That's right. And let's talk about noise candidates.
Yeah. Let's talk about noise in fucking apartments. Okay? Let's talk about the shitty fucking construction of apartments and the luxury apartments. I'm about, you know what? I'm writing a note to myself. Apartment complexes? Yeah. All new construction must be made from fully soundproof designs. Because that shit is infuriating. Being able to hear the neighbors above you tap dancing at 9 o'clock at night when you have to work and wake up at 5 a.m. Or your neighbor next to you beating their wife. Or husband, for that matter. Like, brother. or the young couple that's just having loud, obnoxious sex. Or loud, obnoxious dance parties with music playing. Like, no. Yeah, noise. I couldn't survive in New York City. I would be in a straitjacket, losing my mind. Also, yes, the rent. Rent controls, I mean, the fact that the cost of living, housing specifically, is being treated as a profit-generating mechanism is egregious. But we could say the same thing about healthcare and education, or childcare for that matter, or transportation, or utilities. Things that, you know, are public services or goods. Those should not ever be for profit. And yet, here we are. Anyway.
Because they fall into these two categories. First of all is the residential one, that's the neighbors and the loud music. And the second one is the street or sidewalk, everything with the loud construction and workers outside. So, Mr. Cuomo, as mayor, what can you do to help the city that never sleeps get a little bit of rest, Mr. Cuomo?
Yeah,
That's
look,
funny.
I think if the 311 system worked well, if there was actually contact with people, I think New Yorkers would get it. I think New Yorkers would be...
By the way, 311 is a program that exists in fairly large cities across the country. I know it exists in Columbus. Obviously, it exists in New York City. I'd imagine it exists in other large cities, like populations of 1 million or more. Maybe even places like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Minneapolis, Portland, stuff like that. The thing is, though, it's good on paper. It is a service that connects to the city to address public concerns, public issues, without making a brouhaha with the police department, because the police aren't trained or qualified to deal with those things, right? But then the city doesn't actually fund the 311 program. I actually tried utilizing the 311 program, and it wouldn't even let me search for my ticket because the server was down. There's no investment in the 311 programs, and there's no support to the 311 programs. So, of course, they fail. And then they come up in debates. Everybody dogs on them. And then it's like, oh, we should probably just get rid of it then because clearly it's not working. No, that is by design. Of course, socialism will fail if you don't allow it to function. Of course, capitalism works for capitalists because they are constantly investing in it. If capitalism worked for people, nobody would bitch. But it doesn't, because nobody invests in capitalism to benefit people. They invest in capitalism to benefit capitalists. So, just to put the perspective in there.
Responsive. I think we have to change the ethos in this city, the ethic in this city. Right now it's toxic, it's divisive, everyone's angry at everyone. I think when we have public safety that's functional again, and New Yorkers are part of that system, I think they would be more cooperative than you think.
Thank you very much.
There's no proposal.
Mr. Sliwa, how would you quiet a little bit the city that never sleeps?
In the outer boroughs,
I will quiet the city that never sleeps by having a mandatory curfew at 10 p.m. enforced by the NYPD that is increased by 5,000 personnel, and I will arrest every single non-compliant citizen. Ha 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 ha.
See problems all the time, quality of life issues. 18-wheel tractor trailers, RVs parked everywhere. Garbage that's not picked up and collected. In the city, we've seen trash cans taken away by the sanitation department, Jessica Tisch, when she was the commissioner. The quality of life has diminished noticeably. So naturally, people are going to revert to 311. But it's important that a mayor be able to provide services to all the people. And they believe if quality of life is diminished, the next stop is sell your house and leave the city. And my goal is to improve and not move.
So they will stop Mamdani talking, but they'll just kind of like, okay, thank you, and he'll just keep going and going and going. And that makes me mad too, because when I did the debates and I was being moderated, I only got like 3 questions, and they were like trying to get me to shut up too. I'm like, bruh, I got to speak twice in 2 hours. Go fuck yourself. Anyway.
Mr. Mamdani, your turn.
What we've seen is one of the biggest sources of noise in this city is from congestion. And with the implementation of congestion pricing, we've actually seen noise complaints drop in the congestion zone. And so I would continue to find ways to ensure that we have reduced congestion across the city. And one of the ways is by making the slowest buses in America ones that are fast and free, so that New Yorkers can not only live a life of excellent quality of life, but also be able to get around this city without having to worry if they have $2.90 or soon to be $3 in their pocket, which is already out of reach for 1 in 5 New Yorkers.
We have here the author of Congestion Pricing, and we have the apprentice of Congestion Pricing.
We might
I'm
need
the only candidate who's opposed to congestion pricing.
Thank you.
It has led to
We might need to-
storefronts
we might need to
closing
place-
because they don't have enough food.
other
food
quality
traffic.
life
Move on, otherwise we're going to have to place a call to
I'm not a
311.
fan of the congestion pricing either, because quite frankly, there are significantly better ways to raise money rather than charging people trying to get to fucking work. Okay, congestion pricing. We can't drive through Manhattan. Well, I work in Manhattan. Now I have to go to the subway. Well, the subway just keeps going up and up in price. And I have to rely on the subway to be on time, not breaking down, and being able to get to wherever I need to go without delays. Which is also not happening, right? Adel Gaming, thanks for the follow and a nice, easy to pronounce name. So congestion pricing to me is an unnecessary hurdle. What you do is you make the mass transit that exists far more efficient and far more accessible. Again, people will straight up go toward it. They will flock towards it rather than using cars outright, the more affordable and accessible it is. Secondly, you want to save money in New York City? How about slashing the NYPD in half or more by 90%? There is not, again, why does crime exist? Lack of ability, lack of access, lack of social protections. That's it. That is why crimes happen. People can't afford food, shelter, clothing, water, utilities, and so they seek another means of acquiring food, shelter, clothes, water, and utilities. That's the fundamentals of crime. Well, New York City has the mafia and gangs and cartels and this, that, and the other, so we need the police. Everything you just listed actually falls under the jurisdiction of the FBI. And that's why I said cut the NYPD by 90%. 5,000 elite task force members to go after organized criminals? Seems reasonable to me. They're like, that seems reasonable. They are trained, they are dedicated, they are motivated, they are focused on the mission. Going after gangsters, going after cartels, going after the mafia, going after organizations. They are infiltrating, dismantling, arresting, or executing, as the case may be, criminal organizations. And they are going pop, 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 pop. 5,000 of them versus however many criminals there are in New York City, right? You would get rid of the petty criminals like the purse snatchers and the thieves and the pickpockets and the carjackers if housing were affordable and food was affordable and transportation was affordable and childcare was affordable. Most criminal acts, especially career criminal acts, are due to necessity because people will find a way to survive. So you want to save money, slash the NYPD. Tax the rich and fund social programs. Fund the government and make it efficient. That's why government exists. If you're not going to have efficient government, then get rid of it. Of course, then you have nothing to check, unmitigated corporations, which is kind of also a problem when the government doesn't check unmitigated corporations. So, it goes back to why we have fascism. If everybody's in compliance and complicit with the fascism, then it doesn't matter how many checks and balances exist. If they're going to capitulate during the moment of truth, then it doesn't fucking matter. I didn't recognize Curtis without the stupid red hat. Well, I don't know who Curtis is. So, NYPD special task forces could be formed and work with the FBI even with a reduced NYPD presence. Exactly. If we slash the police budget, who will be around to shoot citizens? Right. If we slash the NYPD, how can we have officers ensuring that the homeless aren't sleeping on benches and patrolling the subway cars, making sure that single women are safe at night in their isolated car? Oh, Curtis Silva, I see. I see. NYPD will retaliate if you defund them. They will never take accountability or accept correction, especially if it's a Democrat doing the correcting. No, I'm not saying that they would be happy about it. But if you... Okay, so say the NYPD retaliates. What are they going to do? Kill you? Well, then they're criminals. And then what? That stands. Like, you get to be a martyr while living or dead. So going after the NYPD is exactly the right thing to do. If going after an entity would result in that entity turning into the very thing that we've been saying they are, which is a criminal organization, then they definitely need to be slashed. Yeah, but here's the problem with law enforcement, right? They are reactionary. Police do not reduce crime. They don't. That has never been and never will be a thing. Police can only react to crimes. And their presence typically doesn't diminish crime. Because if it did, they would be doing their jobs of getting rid of organized crime in the first place, right? Again, the more you support a population through public services and making sure that people can afford a cost of living, the less criminal activity will ever occur to begin with. Police are a tool for a problem that is manufactured by government. Even though they're a wing of government, government creates the justification to have police, so government can use police to maintain control over a given population. And that is the fundamental purpose of law enforcement. Of any country in any era, police, military, or before the police it was the military, right? They have always served one person, or one purpose: population control. Controlling the masses, controlling the actual population. And you cannot, we can debate that. I will give you my phone number and we will call this on live. Well, not my phone number. I'll give you like a Google phone number and we can debate this on live. And I will debate you until the cows come home, because fundamentally I am right, because the studies show that I'm right and history shows I'm right. Police only contribute to increased criminal activity. Period. Because the funding that goes to law enforcement could go to help supplement the cost of living or government services that would prevent crime in the first place. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to come at you. I was just saying, like, in general, if you're thinking, well, police save lives and they do, no, they fucking don't. You rarely hear of a cop stopping a crime while it's being committed, because it rarely happens. Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, Adel, I wasn't coming after you. I was saying, generally speaking, that topic, that particular policy position, I mean, and it's in my policy page too, police reform. We have to federalize police standards. We have to adhere to these standards, and we need to make them as transparent as fucking possible. Demilitarization is a must, an absolute fucking must. Refocus on criminal issues, which is like I was saying. If we reduce the law enforcement down to a specific task force to go after organized crime, yes. That's what police is for, to mitigate that, not to patrol our streets and terrorize individuals. So, anyway.
One about candidates going
Went
over there a lot of time. Okay, so we're going to move on to
there. Don't worry.
We're going to move on to illegal parking plaques in many neighborhoods. Recently, Councilmember Lincoln Ressler released a study that found 450 vehicles parked illegally during the day in downtown Brooklyn, many with fake or government placards. That's just one snapshot of the city, but you hear similar complaints everywhere.
Damn.
So how would you fix this specific situation? You'll have 30 seconds. Mr. Sliwa will begin with you.
Well, obviously, placards have been abused consistently. You have people who have created fake placards. Not only that, you have people with fake license plates.
Well, maybe if parking in Brooklyn wasn't $40 an hour, you wouldn't need fake plates to pretend to be something that wouldn't have to pay the $40 an hour.
Paper plates. There's all violations against the Department of Transportation rules and regulations of where you can park a vehicle. There's just no enforcement. And that's because we don't have police. We have these e-bikes going
We
up
need
and
more
down.
police
We have the motorbikes.
to make sure
They're
you
not
don't
following
illegally
rules and
park.
regulations. They should be licensed. They should have...
My God. Is he trying... Like, which psychopathic leader in past just talked about, we need the military. We need you, citizen, to comply. That sounds like some Hitler shit. Some Mussolini garbage. Like, we must have a stronger nation so that you, citizen, can be held to account. These dastardly illegal parkers. That's why we need 5,000 more soldiers to join the empire. Like, what? We'll research it. I feel like you knocked on my door. Hell yeah, brother. That's what we like to hear. Some actual discourse. To be fair, I don't think Adel entirely disagrees with you. I think they were perhaps playing devil's advocate a bit. Which is fair. I don't mind that. He's literally a corporatist, I see. It's definitely some Mussolini. Okay, so it was Mussolini who said that shit? Alright. Oh, and cooking. Fair enough. I've given myself food poisoning so damn much. It's ridiculous. Alright, anyway. Mussolini.
A way of being identified. This way, enforcement can take place.
Wait, that isn't a slur against Italians, right? I mean, he's not Italian, but I did make the...
People were terrified walking out into the streets.
Mr. Mamdani, your plan for illegal parking?
We have to showcase that accountability is true, whether for New Yorkers who are just living in this city or those who are working for this city. And the violation of traffic laws are violations no matter who is doing it, and to show that that accountability is something my city government's actually going to pursue.
Okay, Mr. Cuomo.
Listen. All right. Oh, thanks, Anna. Way to throw me under the bus. Interesting fact about Curtis. He's been arrested over 80 times. And he wants more police? Okay. Next, he's going to say the city, everything within the city, nothing outside of the city. Lock him up and Arkham Asylum. Not surprised. Dude is insane. For protesting, correct. Oh, for protest. Wow. That's crazy if they're going to arrest right-wingers on top of that. Legit got Mr. Wayne Sr. over here, Two-Face, and then Batman. Here's the other thing, though, right? Here's my Zoran Mamdani impression. As your mayor, it will be a top priority to ensure that those violators of parking passes and permits are held accountable. Because without laws, without order, we cannot be a society. Like, you could not pay me enough to give a single solitary fuck about parking violations. You could not pay me. You could write a check with a 1 and infinite zeros and hand it to me and said, I can only cash this check if I were to immediately, like, just to the core of my being, give a damn about parking violations. I'd be like, all right, I guess I'm going to light this shit on fire. I could not give any less fucks. First of all, most parking or pay-to-park schemes are private corporations that are doing this. Not the city of New York, not Queens, not Brooklyn, not Manhattan, not, I don't know what the other borough is. Is it Harlem? Is the fifth borough Harlem? I don't know. Anyway, none of that, right? None of those boroughs make money from the parking fees. That's some company that contracts with the city and gives some small portion of those parking fees to the city. So, like, no. Chicago is an egregious example of this. Dayton, Ohio, was actually in the news years ago because of a scandal involving the parking fees. Columbus, I think, did try to reclaim most of their parking fees, I think, because of the scandals that were going on. But for the most part, that's why parking in downtown Columbus is like $3 instead of 40. Okay? So again, there is nothing that Selma Hayek could come back from the 90s in her prime, travel to the future, and swear her undying allegiance to me in exchange for giving a damn about parking tickets, and that would not be enough to sway me. You could have every legitimately talented, attractive actress, singer, physicist, doctor, whatever, become my personal harem in exchange for giving a shit about parking. And I would have to turn it down. Like, that is how much I could not care about parking. Like, again, why is parking a problem in the first place? Because cities cannot be designed around cars in the first place. Because cars take up too much fucking space. What we should be talking about, the actual point of conversation that should be had, is making our cities walkable and not focused on cars and automotives, because that is what's causing all of the congestion problems. We seriously need a better funded, more efficient mass transit system. When you're broke and have no cable, you find the weirdest free TV shows. I love Selma Hayek. It would be for me. Sam's harem. Oh, you thumbs down me because my voice cracked? Well, I'm sorry. I'm a little animated, and the honey is not enough. I lost viewers apparently too because of that. My bad. I guess all those viewers gave a shit about parking. Sorry. I think there's far more important things for us to worry about than parking.
On the quality of life, you're right, is very, very important. On the placards, I would make it simple. I would recall all the city placards and...
I lost the parking vote. Big parking is coming for you. Jesus Christ.
And reissue only those that are bona fide, period, on day one. On the quality of life issues, the worst thing that could happen is if the Assemblyman's proposal for legalizing prostitution went through. That would be terrible for...
Dude, if prostitution could be legal, you wouldn't be $60 million down on sexual assault lawsuits because you could just hire the hooker. Bruh. What even is... Who is Cuomo? Like, the kids say Ohio is a slang term for crazy and out there. I recommend Cuomo. It's like, dude, that is fucking Cuomo. Bruh. If it could be any more Cuomo, it would be Ohio. Holy shit. I lost the vote of the PTA moms with Suburbans and minivans. Sex workers for Mamdani. Am I independent? So, ideologically, yes. But in order to run for office, I'm going to have to pick a party. And in the district that I live in, I'm going to have to pick Republican. So, am I independent? Ideologically, yes. But in terms of, in order to win electorally, no. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, pick. Parking wars? All right. Let's do this. Oh, it's a show. Ah, damn. That's wild. Overview. The chaos continues in part 2. More meltdowns, more mix-ups, and even more unforgettable impound lot moments. Ah, damn.
The quality of life. He also doesn't want to enforce misdemeanors.
We're getting to that,
That's
Mr.
assault, larceny, etc. That would
We're
be
going to have
terrible.
time to address that.
I want to be very clear. Not only have I never called for the legalization of prostitution, I'm not calling for that today either.
Dude! That could have been the singularly most based thing your campaign does. What? Mr. Cuomo, you know what? I am going to legalize prostitution. I might have saved the state of New York $21 million in lawsuits. For the record, just in case anybody was curious, I, Samuel Ronan, President of the United States of America, do promote sex work legalization. I will legalize prostitution across the 50 states. So, this is the part that is actually, like, talking about it, and then this is how we help the victims and preventing human trafficking. But no, I actually am outright a supporter of sex work legalization. Maybe I need to do some more nuance and on that particular page. I'll write a note for myself real quick. But yeah, like, dude, what are you fucking how many prostitutes are in New York City anyway? And you're not collecting taxes on them hooking? Bro, there's your funding. Pun not intended, but like, bro, oh my God. I cannot even. The slut vote? Why would I lose the slut vote? I'm advocating for sex work legalization. I'm still voting for Sam, but I'm a whore. I can say slut automod, I am one. A real one. Christian America isn't ready for that. Yeah, well, they better buckle up, because during the end times where the sinners will be purged by me, let's see. I am right here. They could make so much money off me. Is Sam a whore too? I am a God-fearing Christian Roman Catholic. I could never be a whore. Okay, I thought I heard some electricity crackle.
And I also have never said anything about not enforcing misdemeanors. This is just yet another figment of Andrew Cuomo's imagination.
The DSA, which you give your part of your salary to, that's their position: abolish jails, no new carceral facilities, don't enforce misdemeanors. And you're on the bill in Albany as a sponsor to decriminalize prostitution.
The difference between myself and Andrew Cuomo, of which there are many, is that there is no one that is actually telling me what to do other than the 8.5 million people who call this city home. If you want my policies, you'll find them on my website.
Who told you to legalize prostitution?
Well, okay, we actually have a question.
Straight men? And I'm guessing prostitutes.
Andrew, you can't escape this. You signed the law doing away with loitering for prostitution. That was the law put forward by Jessica Ramos.
Gentlemen,
you started the prostitution in East Elmhurst,
Mr. Sliwa,
and Jackson Heights and Flushing.
Mr. Sliwa, we have...
And you want to add to it, which diminishes the quality of life.
Mr. Sliwa.
Again, prostitution is the oldest profession in all of human history. And prostitutes throughout all of human history have been treated anywhere from the highest members of society, treated as oracles and representation of fertility goddesses, all the way down to the lowest scum of the earth. But they have always fucking existed in society, and up until, I want to say, really the 1800s, like, prostitution was generally available and legal in America. Like, the Wild West was chock full of prostitutes. The South was chock full of prostitutes. Like, every part of America is chock full of prostitutes. And nobody gave a shit until post-World War II and the Red Scare, and now everything has to be Christian this, Christian that, because our God-given American rights and our God-fearing culture. And it's like, dude, that's not true at all. Christian nationalism emerged to combat communism. And that's when prostitution and all this other stuff started becoming bad. Yeah, like geisha, exactly. Like you said, the geisha is a prime example. The Venetian prostitutes, they were literally the cult members of Venus, and that was their role. In order to venerate Venus, they would have sex for money. Like, that would be the donation. Instead of putting $10 in the donation basket, you'd fuck an extremely hot follower of Venus for the same $10. Like, bro, that's absolute winning. I am God-fearing. I'm gonna God-fear that ass up. Like, I mean, that's probably the most crass I've ever been on this stream. I apologize, but I'm just saying, like, why don't we bring back temple prostitutes? If we are truly a nation of free religion, who am I to argue against bringing back the temple prostitutes?
When I talk over you, nobody's hearing you, and we actually have a question on that. So we'll let Rosarina ask.
And for this question, candidates, we want to come to Queens, where we know that prostitution has been an ongoing complaint. Mayor Adams formed a task force
and complaining about
prostitutes by the NYPD.
Nerds.
The situation continues, especially around the very popular Roosevelt Avenue. As mayor, Mr. Mamdani, how would you handle this situation? You have 30 seconds.
I want to first be clear that I am not, and nor have I ever called for the legalization of prostitution. And if you are happy with what's happening on Roosevelt Avenue, then you should vote for Andrew Cuomo, because his policy is to continue the exact same ones we've seen under Eric Adams. My policy is to actually take on sex trafficking, to have a zero tolerance for violence against women, and to follow the advice of district attorneys that we have here in New York City. The current...
I'm sorry, but when he said district attorney, the only thing that went through my head was dun dun. These are the stories of the special and the district attorneys who prosecute them.
Manhattan DA, the former Manhattan DA, the current Brooklyn DA, the former Manhattan DA having said that prosecuting women for prostitution is something that actually leads to less safety. And what we need to do is provide an economy of opportunity.
Just a quick clarification. So no legalization, how about decriminalization?
I do not think that we should be prosecuting women who are struggling, who are currently being thrown in jail, and then being offered job opportunities.
I don't like this. This is the things that give me the ick about Mamdani, okay? This right here. He is talking about non-prosecution. That's what he's talking about. But he won't say the words. Why?
I think we should be actually providing those kinds of opportunities at the first point of interaction.
Mr. Cuomo, your turn.
Look, Bill de Blasio, the Assemblyman is a mini-me BDB, okay? He's Bill de Blasio light. He proposed legalizing prostitution. He didn't get it, and he just told the cops, don't arrest any more prostitutes. There is a bill in Albany that he signed that says the prostitution that a woman who is a prostitute, that would be decriminalized. That is what the bill says. And that's what he said, if you listen very carefully. That would take Roosevelt Avenue and explode it. because it would make it legal for prostitutes.
But real quick, how would you handle this situation?
You have to enforce the law. It's illegal. I went to Roosevelt Avenue. I talked to the store owners. I talked to the neighbors. I walked down Roosevelt Avenue with prostitutes there at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Your turn, Mr.
I bet he fucking did walk down Roosevelt Avenue at 9 o'clock in the morning. I bet you did, buddy. But, again, more for him and none for thee. That's the point. He wants to go after the prostitutes because he can have them and get away with it. But God forbid a regular hardworking stiff. I'm sorry, guys. That is a serious topic, and I shouldn't be even accidentally making puns. Wives are complaining. I love the lady doing the ASL signing. Yeah, she's legit. How about decriminalizing? Right. If you can't... But he said everything about decriminalizing without saying it. And he won't say it should be decriminalized. Exactly. Cuomo hated de Blasio. Well, de Blasio threw me under the bus, too. There's no way people will vote for Cuomo. Like, no! He doesn't want... He doesn't want prostitutes. And he wants you to pay for parking. Like, I wouldn't vote for that guy either. It's like, bro, I want prostitutes and I don't want to pay for parking. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I've never been to Roosevelt Avenue. I wouldn't know. And I guess I shouldn't go because I might be solicited and my innocence might be challenged. They were literally walking up to the cars naked. Isn't it cold in New York? Also, isn't New York extremely dirty? Like, I would not, even if I was a prostitute, like, wear a bikini or something, like, naked? Why did he resign then? He treats us all like he's our prostitute and we're paying him. Exactly. Oh, you were solicited. Kinky. Prostitution is like the abortion topic. Forcing women what to do with their private parts. The man can get a pass considering it takes two to tango. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? This is women's rights as much as abortion rights is women's rights, as much as equal pay is women's rights. Like, it all boils down to controlling women. And that's also something that's never discussed in these debates. Well, lucky you, Anna. You were getting the dream that every other single man could ever hope for. So, way to rub it in to the audience. Not me, because I am a wholesome individual.
I've dealt with this back in the 80s and 90s in Hell's Kitchen in Chelsea when they were overrun with open-air prostitution and Times Square. You don't go after the women.
Open air prostitution? What does that even mean?
The women are the victims here. You lock up the Johns, you shame the Johns. You let everybody know about the Johns. The madams and the pimps need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And these absentee landlords who knowingly rent their rooms, their apartments out for the use of prostitution, the Department of Buildings should come in, padlock the building, seize the building. Because many of these landlords live in Delray, Florida. They did back in the 80s and 90s when we did it in Chelsea and Times Square.
That's interesting because there's a guy from New York who has a tower with his name on it where there was a lot of alleged sex trafficking and prostitution going on. It would be pretty funny if that building got seized by the mayor of New York for those alleged crimes. That's a pretty interesting point to make. He's to the left of Cuomo. That's not what I was getting out of it. I think this dude is batshit insane. We need more cops. Well, this is the 80s. I'm whatever that Miami cop dude was, whatever his name was. I'm Miami Vice. Like, this dude is crazy. Batshit. He's saying, like, maybe one good thing. Don't go after women. Go after the symptoms and the actual perpetrators of prostitution, not the victims of prostitution or the actual prostitutes, right? But that's about the only sane thing he has said on this so far. It's true, though, that Roosevelt Avenue is flooded with prostitution. Again, if it is, legalize it, turn it into a red light district, charge 20% taxes, bada bing, bada boom. That's how you pay for the child care. That's how you get all of the free subway rides. And I'm a New Yorker. I can fuck bitches, I can go to work, and I can go pick up my kid afterwards. If that's not America, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. He has those commercials saying New York is under siege with crime, but with all that rising crime, where were his guardian angels to combat it? Why'd they let it get so bad? The only place you can sure he'll get an overwhelming amount of votes is Staten Island. Yeah, well, I don't know. This guy, to me, is insane.
Thank you, and Hell's Kitchen, and they're doing it again, and
Thank you,
there's
Mr.
no
Sliwa.
enforcement. That's why the prostitution.
We're going to go to Sally now.
Thank you, David. We're going to talk a bit about experience and beliefs. We've covered a lot of ground tonight, but we want to probe a bit deeper into each of your mindsets and how you'll approach.
They want to probe a little bit deeper after talking about prostitution.
Governing as mayor. Mr. Cuomo, you have touted your experience on the campaign trail time and again, but you pretty squarely lost the Democratic primary to Mr. Mamdani, forcing you, a lifelong Democrat, to run as an independent. When you announced that decision, you said, quote, "When you get knocked down, learn the lesson and pick yourself back up." What lesson did you learn, and what do you feel it said about you, something you did wrong, something that you need to change about yourself?
Yeah, I think in the primary campaign, I did not do enough on social media, which is a very effective medium now. I think the Assemblyman did do a better job on TikTok and social media than I did during the campaign, and that has changed now. I've also increased my activity significantly, but my agenda is exactly the same. I am the Democrat, although I'm not on the Democratic line.
Oh my God. I am the Democrat. Not the one that actually got elected, though. Dude, I don't know that. I think, honestly, I'm actually wondering how I managed to not laugh during the debates that I was in when I ran for DNC chair, because this is comedic gold. And look at his mouth being wide open. Just hot air being spewed forth with the force of $21 million sexual assault cases against him. Sorry, we were looking for I wish I could bring back the people I let die from COVID. Yeah, that's kind of exactly the point. He wishes what? That he did more social media? Yeah, if you could change one thing about your past, what do you think you could do? I think I would have ran my campaign better. I wonder about that as well, because I was laughing during the debates you participated in. Yeah, honestly, I think I'm going to have a very hard time not laughing outright in the face of my opponents. Because this is nuts.
He is a Democratic socialist, called Barack Obama evil and a liar. Didn't vote for Kamala Harris. Fight and deliver is, I will fight for people, I will fight the bureaucracy, and I will deliver results.
Bro, you are the bureaucracy. Biden was the bureaucracy. Kamala was the bureaucracy. Like, dude, your own rhetoric undermines the claims that you're trying to make, because you either A, don't know what your own party was doing, or you're so ignorant and in your own little bubble that you just don't fucking know. What a guy. He's demonizing for not voting for her, which is actually a prime talking point and point of support for Mamdani, and he just made a point of it to NBC New York live debate with 13,000 people watching right now. Bro.
New Yorkers need the mayor to get something done. This is all words and theories.
Dude, campaigning is just that. Words and theories that I will accomplish once I'm in office if you elect me. That is the literal definition of a campaign. The things that I am saying that I think will work, that will possibly make the changes I say they will, if you vote for me. What? I think I would be torn between looking at him like this and laughing outright, because this is insane. Like, dude, right, getting things done has nothing to do with who you vote for. He didn't vote for our candidates. We need somebody who can get things done, so vote for me for murdering people during COVID. Right, like, stand on something, brother.
I'm a manager who can
actually get things done. This is a question about self-reflection. Is the thing you're reflecting on the most that you need to be on social media more? Was there any other deeper lesson that you learned?
Between the two campaigns, social media...
Let's hear that again.
Self-reflection. Is the thing you're reflecting on the most that you need to be on social media more? Was there any...
Sir, the question was about self-reflection. Is the thing that you're reflecting on the most, on your career, that you needed to be on social media more? Remember, you were the governor of New York during COVID, and you allowed thousands of people to die. You did all of the sexual assaults. You don't regret any of that? Jill Stein was not in our ballot, and she still only got like 65% of the vote in New York City. That's probably one of the lowest percentages of votes for a Democrat in recent history. I think your number is wrong. 65%? You mean 65% of New York City voted for Jill Stein? She only got 600,000 votes. Or are you saying 65% of the vote that she did get was from New York City? Because that would make a whole different story. Yeah, him and his brother. Yeah, no shit. Oh, for Kamala. I see. Okay, yeah. Anyway, and look at his reaction. I didn't realize this is where I paused. Look at that face. That's a face of... yeah. What was the question? Yeah. Yeah.
Any other deeper lesson that you learned?
Between the two campaigns, social media... more accessibility.
Okay.
I just have to say, it's been an hour and 20 minutes of this debate, and we haven't heard Governor Cuomo say the word affordability. That's why he lost the primary. That's why he'll lose the general election. And you can lie all you want, but the truth is, I voted for Kamala Harris. I'm the only candidate on this stage to have the endorsement of Kamala Harris, and I'm not the one who's funded by Bill.
That's so funny, because Cuomo just used that as a bludgeon against him. And he literally had the best response. Like, the best response to a gotcha like that, which is, okay, not even the voting for her part, because that's whatever. Kamala Harris has endorsed Mamdani, and Cuomo was trying to use Kamala Harris as a weapon against him. Like, Cuomo is living in a completely different reality.
Bill Ackman, who called Kamala Harris unqualified to be the vice president of this country.
Okay, may I respond?
Yes, brief response, please.
There are a lot of New Yorkers who support me. And there are a lot of Jewish New Yorkers who support me.
Are we playing the anti-Semitism card right now? Really? 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 Okay. Let me guess. In the entire time of this debate so far, they didn't get to his murder rate during COVID, not by a question from the moderator? I don't know. We kind of jumped in the middle of it and then kept interrupting. like having genocidal war women is a good thing. Right. It isn't, but they were using it as a badge of honor, and Mamdani is the one with the badge of honor. He is pivoting to that. Most Jewish New Yorkers voted for Mamdani, and he still has most of the Jewish support. Exactly. It's time to play who can throw the kitchen sink and make it land. And
They think you're anti-Semitic. So it's not about Trump or Republican. It's about you. Do you think he's anti?
That's why Mamdani's smiling right now. He's like, they think I'm anti-Semitic? You mean the fact that I won the Jewish vote?
Anti-Semitic, Mr. Cuomo?
I don't make those judgments about people. Are you a racist? Are you an anti-Semite? I know there are many Jewish people who believe he is anti-Semitic. I believe not condemning.
So that's... He lost on his ideas. He lost in trying to bash Mamdani's commitment to the DNC. Now he's just going for the tried and true, he's an anti-Semite because he's brown.
The globalized intifada, what he has said about Hamas.
But Mr.
I can see where they
I covered
are
your,
inflamed.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I covered your speech in an Upper West Side synagogue where you said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. There is no difference. And you were talking about Mr. Mamdani. Is that not an allegation?
No, I make that statement all the time. I wasn't referring to Mamdani.
Okay, all right. Mr. Mamdani, a brief response, and then we have to move on.
I have denounced Hamas again and again, and it will never be enough for Andrew Cuomo. But
see, I support Palestine, and I also support Hamas fighting on behalf of Palestinian liberation. So,
because what he is willing to say, even though not on this stage, is to call me, the first Muslim on the precipice of leading this city, a terrorist sympathizer, is to send mailers that artificially lengthen my beard, is to say to New Yorkers that they should be fearful.
Okay, Mr.
What I will do is deliver
Melissa has a specific question
Mr. Mamdani, you are the Democratic nominee, and you're also a member, as we've been discussing, of a political organization that may be less familiar to New Yorkers, the Democratic Socialists of America, which believes in dismantling capitalism. New York City is the global headquarters of the finance industry. So how would you be the mayor of Wall Street and the DSA?
Great question, Cindy. Great question. I have an answer. I believe economic crap. Whoops. Was it this one? I didn't think. Banking. No, hold on. Where was my economic reforms? Bro, did I edit it and then forget to re-upload it? That sounds like something I would do. Because I had a very... Was it corporate ethics? No, it couldn't be that. Shouldn't have been that either. Bro, did I must have been editing my economic reforms and then forgot to re-upload it. Corporate ethics. Banking. I could have... Wow. Well, I guess I'll have to check my website editing history and make sure that I didn't get rid of it on accident. But I had a very specific economic reforms where I did talk about abolishing the stock market. That couldn't have been under labor, right? Well, this is mildly embarrassing. Because that's just taxation. Probably wouldn't fall under that, no. Damn. Sorry. Well, I am actually pro-abolishing the stock market, abolishing Wall Street. So, anyway, Zoran.
You have 1 minute.
I would be the mayor of this entire city, and that means ensuring that the wealth that we generate in this city is also wealth that every single New Yorker can actually feel in their pockets. Because what we have today is a system that has generated the most wealth in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, where 1 in 4 of our neighbors are living in poverty. That's unacceptable. We can't look...
Wrong. 60% of our neighbors are living in poverty whilst working full-time. Also, 90% of all stocks are held by 1% of the population. 90% of all stocks, and don't take my word for it, so, market concentration. Where's like the number? I don't want to go through the tedious numbers. I don't really like AIs, whatever. Right, so, okay. But that was what this was talking about, the Russell investments. Top 10 stocks in the S&P 500 accounted for approximately 37% of the entire market cap, and then 50% of market growth index. So that's the wrong consolidation. Who owns most of the stocks in the stock market? That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for this. So the top 10% of households owning approximately 87 to 93% of all stocks. This concentration of ownership is further amplified at the highest level, as the top 1% of households hold around 50% of all stocks. Okay, so maybe I got my decimal wrong. Sorry. Mea culpa. Point being, though, half of the stock market is owned by the 1%, and an overwhelming majority by the top 10%. And by the way, what is the top 10% of income earners? Top 10% of income earners USA. That would be people who make around $170,000 or more. So, 160,000-ish, right? Whereas in the top 1%, you need to make $1 million. And again, that's the top 10% of earners. So only 10% of Americans are making $160K a year. I'm only making $80,000. And that's already well and above what most people are making in this country. Most people are I thought I was sitting pretty when I was making $73K a year. With overtime, mind you. I thought I was sitting pretty when I made $65K a year for the first time. And that wouldn't have been anywhere close to the top 10%. That would have been almost triple my income. And that is who is controlling the number of stocks and ownership in the United States of America. So, no. Why should we allow literally 10% of the population, 30 million people, to dictate the ebbs and flows of the stock market, which dramatically impacts our economy because we choose to relate the stock market, which is literally a graph of actual, literal rich people's feelings, to determine whether or not people have jobs. So no, I am for the full abolishment of the stock market.
Look at 500,000 kids hungry every single night as just the cost of doing business in this city. That's something we have to actually change. And I'm going to do that by fighting for my neighbors in Queens that I've come to know, who are not only the ones who own teapots and toy stores, who own diners and dry cleaners, but also the ones who work there. Because right now, all of them are being pushed out of this city by corporate greed, by private equity, and by a politics that refuses to fight for them. I will finally
just
deliver
a quick follow-up, Mr. Mamdani. A lot of Hispanic that flee socialism and are a little bit scared to hear your policies. What would you tell them?
Why is a Latina talking about Hispanics fleeing socialism? That's the way she said it. You mean U.S. interventionism? What do you call a Latina that is betraying the Latin community? Is that the gusano? Is that the term? A gusana. Gotcha. Okay. Gusana. Not her. Not this lady. She's just an innocent translator. Gusana.
Well, I would first say that I wouldn't be here without the support of Latino New Yorkers, because it was the majority of their support that helped to make me the Democratic nominee. And what democratic socialism means is a belief in the dignity of each and every New Yorker and the responsibility city government has to deliver that dignity. That's why I'm speaking about childcare, because it's pricing out New Yorkers from the city. That's why I'm speaking about freezing the rent, because housing isn't a human right in the way that we practice our politics in this city. And that's why I'm talking about making buses fast and free, because 1 in 5 New Yorkers are being priced out of public transit today.
Rosarina. So, Mr. Sliwa, I would like to talk to you because you were here with us 4 years ago in the same stage for the general election debate, and you lost it. Why do you believe New York is ready to elect a Republican this time around?
First off, did I not warn you 4 years ago that Eric Adams would be corrupt and we would have chaos? Did I not? Of course I did.
Oh, so he's the Republican candidate?
Now I'm trying to get people to vote for me. Not just on the Republican line, but also my wife, Nancy, who was the best thing that has ever happened to me, created the first ever independent Protect Animals line, which calls for no-kill shelters and putting animal abusers in jail. But the other thing that differentiates me from both of my adversaries is that I am opposed to the city of yes, which will destroy the residential neighborhoods. Both of them are for the city of yes. So when you vote for me, whether on the Republican line or the Protect Animals line, turn your ballot over and vote no on all those initiatives and referendums. Imagine, they've said, how can you, Curtis, a Republican, work with a Democratic majority in the council? Adrian Adams is in agreement with me. The Democratic city council people are in agreement with me. No to the city of yes, which will take your homes and provide you instead with lithium.
So this is the part that really boggles my mind. If Democratic leaders are agreeing with the Republican, wouldn't that make those Democrats Republicans? Right? And doesn't that just kind of prove the point that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are just flip-flopping to whatever's more convenient at the time? He's the guy with the stupid red hat from the Guardian Angels. I see. I've heard the name. I've never put a name to the face, and I do not pay attention to that nonsense because I would be just as dumbfounded sitting here, or as I am sitting here. And right, why do conservatives continue to panic about socialism when capitalism is literally the ones taking their houses, their jobs, and their livelihood? Again, it's evidence. It is evident because we have been capitalist for so damn long. And in places like the South, broadly speaking, the South, but especially Texas and Florida, has been Republican for decades. Red Republican. Every single policy that they say is a Democrat's fault could not have been passed by Democrats because it has never, ever been Democratic. Well, blue Democrat, not... Well, we could also argue that it wasn't Democratic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that it's so weird to me, the failure to recognize that the thing that you support is the very thing that is harming you, and the very thing that you're afraid of is the very thing that would support you.
Ion battery warehouses next to your house, which are like mini Chernobyls. I'm the only candidate who is opposed to the city of yes.
Thank you.
I have a quick follow to that, Mr. Sliwa. How do you bring down costs if you don't build more housing?
Oh, it's very simple to build housing. You just look in New York City. We have so many dense areas where you no longer can use the commercial space. They used to be office space. And you just convert it into residential housing. You don't need to go into the outer boroughs. You don't need to use wetlands and parklands, which they seek to do. If you build a new building, it takes 5 years. If you convert an
All right, Mr. Sliwa, thank you. We want to change the pace here a little bit.
I
want to change the pace and just get a sense of what you think about political leadership. We're curious about who you admire. Who is the best modern day
Mussolini
U.S. president? Mr. Cuomo?
Modern day, well, I'm partial. I was Bill Clinton's Housing and Urban Development Secretary. We built affordable housing all across the United States.
So Bill Clinton?
Empowerment zones. I would say Bill Clinton.
Okay. Mr. Mamdani?
I would say FDR.
Mr. Sliwa?
Modern day?
I would say FDR as well, actually. But that's the thing, with modern day, which president would you support? None of them. And if it's going to be leaders, right, like actual leaders that existed in modern times, fuck. Which world leader has actually been based? I'm trying to think. Maybe Claudia Sheinbaum? If I was asked that question, which modern world leader do I admire the most that I can remember and whose history hasn't been sullied by their actions, right? Because otherwise it would be Obama, hands down. But the thing is, I know what Obama has done. I know his history. I know his legacy. He is not a good person, right? But Claudia Sheinbaum, she's doing great things for Mexico. And I think Angela Merkel was also pretty good for Germany, but then didn't her legacy get tarnished as well? So I'm trying to think. I know Maduro comes to mind too because of Venezuela and he's socialist and all that, but I think I would have to probably go with Claudia, maybe? Pepe Mujica? AMLO? Yeah. It would probably be a Latin American. Evo Morales? It would probably have to be a Latin American leader. Because even Captain Traore has done some pretty questionable things lately. So, yeah, I think I'd probably... My knee-jerk response would probably be Claudia.
Modern.
Well, man, I'd say FDR also, if that's modern day.
Mr. Sliwa.
A man that ended up being loved by Democrats and Republicans alike. The greatest governor we've ever had in my lifetime, George Pataki. 3 terms, no chaos, no corruption.
I was asking.
And he actually beat
President.
the better
President.
your father.
Mr. Sliwa, modern day U.S.
This
president.
governor and this
modern
president.
day U.S. president.
Who's
who you thought the best modern
best president in our lifetime?
Yeah.
I would say the best president in our lifetime that I've experienced. I would go back to Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You asked modern times, but that's the thing. Isn't modern what is currently experienced, right? If this dude's 70 years old, why wouldn't he pick Reagan, right? I get that FDR wouldn't be modern. I get that. That's like 80 years removed. That's a bit much, but it's not like there's been a good president since JFK. And even then, that's debatable. People, I think, romanticize JFK's administration because he was assassinated in a very horrific way, and he went after the Federal Reserve and he put us on the moon. But it's not like the guy didn't have his own little scandals. Maryland, Cuban Missile Crisis. I'm just saying, JFK wasn't a saint either. He wasn't a paragon of virtue. When I hear Pataki, I don't think best we've had. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak to governors and all that. But yeah, it's no shock that he would say Reagan. And for him, that would be modern. That's only 40 years ago.
Okay. How about the best New York City mayor, Mr. Sliwa? Best New York City mayor, Mr. Sliwa.
Rudy Giuliani, who endorsed me last week.
Okay.
And I'd have a little bit of Michael Bloomberg thrown in because he liked the delegate responsibility.
I think the best New York City mayor of all time is Fiorello LaGuardia.
Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it LaGuardia who was literally the most beloved New York City mayor, hands down, period, dot? Like, that's the only answer that you should be giving.
It was Bill de Blasio last debate.
No, I've always said Fiorello is the best mayor of all time.
Who's yours, Mr. Cuomo?
Is it of all time or modern time?
Best New York City mayor in Europe.
Of all time, it is Fiorello LaGuardia.
We agree.
Recently, I would say Mayor Dinkins and Mayor Bloomberg.
Okay. How about the political leader, dead or alive, you most admire?
Gaius Julius Caesar. No hesitation. No, I would be jumping at the buzzing. Which leader do I personally respect and admire the most? Julius Caesar. When do we celebrate the 4th of July, our Independence Day? What calendar do we use? The Julian calendar. Why are railroad tracks as wide as they are? Julius Caesar. Why are cars the way that they are? Julius Caesar. Like, say what you will about the man. Oh, he was a tyrant, a dictator for life. Oh. He had the heart and soul of the Roman people right there. The legions, the citizens, all of it, except for the patricians who were threatened by his power. His influence reverberates to this very day. Again, I'm not saying he was a saint. He was deified by the Roman people, but that doesn't change the fact that his administration, his leadership, both military and domestic, were generational, millennial spanning. Like, you literally, right? He made Cleopatra his baby mama. I'm just saying, people have been calling themselves titles as heads of state for 2,000 years, over 2,000 years, as an honorific to Julius Caesar. Kaiser, Tsar, right? Like, those are literally Caesar. Julius Caesar. A very close second, Genghis Khan. Because if you're going to go scorched earth, nothing goes more scorched earth than setting birds on fire, to set a town on fire, to conquer, what was it, like over 3 million square miles? Like, the largest empire in all of human history conquered China and Japan and Russia, a feat that has never been repeated since. No country has ever conquered Russia. No other country has ever conquered China. Occupied China, but that was economics, not conquest. Just saying, Julius Caesar, Genghis Khan. How effing out of touch can you be to trash them and then say cool to one of them? Right. I saw something stunning. Someone said, don't vote for Sliwa because it's a wasted vote and he won't win. So put your vote to the lesser of two evils, which is slightly what progressives have been saying. Team Red was the one who said you must vote for Team Red no matter what. And now they've taken up this. One of my cousins' name is Julio Caesar in Spanish. It's actually a fairly common name in Latin America. I wonder why.
Mr. Mamdani?
I would say I admire Bernie Sanders.
Mr. Cuomo?
Fuck off.
My father.
Mr. Sliwa?
I said it already, George Pataki, who was loved by Democrats and Republicans and the greatest mayor in our lifetime.
All right.
The greatest governor in our
I just have one more before Sally starts to ask you about schools. A show of hands. Who supports Kathy Hochul for re-election?
It's a decision that should be made after this general election.
So no decision. Mr. Cuomo, you handpicked her as your lieutenant governor. No thought?
You have to know who's running.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And I would add that I do think that Kathy Hochul, our governor, has been doing a good job in not only
support her for re-election?
Not only delivering for New Yorkers, but also standing up to Donald Trump.
Do you support her for re-election?
Then endorse her.
I'm focusing on November.
Why don't you endorse her?
And I appreciate her support and I appreciate her work.
But you don't endorse her.
Yeah, Mamdani has a penchant for not answering questions while he is so non-committal. I'm surprised he's fucking married, honestly. Like, how is this man married and has this much commitment issues to committing to political things on a debate for his role? So he's just saying this because she endorsed him, pretty much.
How about a shout out for Lisa Stefanik to take out Kathy Hochul? So you have a Republican Mayor Curtis, a Republican Governor Stefanik, like Giuliani.
You want to talk about schools?
Save this city.
You want to talk about schools, Sally?
Okay. Thank you, David. Let's turn to education. There are a number of issues facing public schools. One that's been controversial in the campaign is the Gifted and Talented program, which offers accelerated instruction to elementary school children. Mr. Mamdani, you have said that you want to phase out the Gifted and Talented program, while Mr. Cuomo and Mr. Sliwa want to expand it. Mr. Sliwa, we will start with you. What is your plan for the program? You have 1 minute.
Gifted and Talented.
Yes, Gifted and Talented.
I have 2 younger sons with Melinda Katz, the Queens DA. They both attempted to get into Gifted and Talented as 4-year-olds. They failed. It did not present a problem with their future education. We don't have enough slots. Right now, they're 1,900. We need to have at least 5,000 slots around the city.
What's this dude's fascination with 5,000? Is that a dog whistle that I'm not aware of? Where's Blake when you need him? He knew all those. He knew all those dog whistles. But on a serious note, like, the Gifted program should be integrated into the public school system, period. Why are we trying to segregate education? Germany doesn't segregate education, per se. Actually, I guess that might not be entirely true. They more so segregate career paths. Those who want to go to college can go this way. Those who want to go to college but don't have the grades to do it can go this way. And those who just want to go into the workforce can go that way. And those who just want to get trades can go this way. Why would we not adapt something similar but American, right? If you're gifted, great. You're on the scholarly track. Great, until you decide not to be, and then you go on this track. That there's only so many slots reeks of elitism. And that's a problem. The program should be abolished and replaced by being completely integrated into the public school system.
Have not done at the Department of Education is make these tests available in Black and Hispanic communities. So, for instance, you have 77,000 children who are 4 years old. Only 10,000 have taken the test. Only 2,000 are accepted. Why not offer the test to all 77,000? And even if a gifted and talented class only has 3 or 4 in a minority school, give these children an opportunity to excel too. That would make it fair for everybody.
Thank you, Mr.
That is like the only intelligent thing I have heard him say. Why not change the question so there's no bias? Right. How about just make that part of the entry program? Every year you get to take this test at the grade level that it's intended for. And if you end up in the program, great. Now you get to join this curriculum. We have honors, advanced, and college prep classes. Why the fuck is that not the... Like, am I missing something? Did they get rid of college prep, honors, and AP classes? Is that gone now? Because I thought we already resolved this issue. Am I mistaken? The school where I work tried to work with New York City to create programs like the special ed program that we have, and they said no. Meanwhile, the city's having to pay each family back about $60K a year, which is nuts. Yeah, unconscious bias, and candidates can't even address the questions bias, right? Great point. They definitely have a blind spot about it. Yeah, no, I wouldn't argue that one bit. So that's kind of where I'm getting at, is there is already solutions to this problem in America in our education system. Just expand the college prep, advanced, honors, AP, whatever, to all grades, and be done with it. I don't get this.
Mr. Cuomo, how does your plan differ from Mr. Sliwa's? You also have 1 minute.
First, I support mayoral control. I think it would be a terrible mistake to roll back mayoral control. That's probably been the most dramatic educational reform in 40 years. We'd go back to the old system that had local school boards, which were corrupt, patronage mills, etc. So who runs the system is number one. I would expand gifted and talented programs, accessibility. I'd offer preparatory courses to any student, parent that wanted to take them. I'd double the number of specialized high schools from 9 to 18. And I would keep the SH-SAT as it is.
So the SH-SAT has been proven to be biased against black and brown communities. Like, it has been universally proven that that test discriminates and was created to discriminate against black and brown communities. So is that a dog whistle, or is that just ignorance?
Thank you. And Mr. Mondale.
Can I add one thing? There's been no discussion about vocational high schools, which save so many young men and women. We need to expand vocational training for those who are not going to achieve academic excellence.
We're going to keep going here with Mr. Mamdani. Why should the gifted and talented program be phased out, in your opinion? You have a minute to answer.
So I want to be very clear. I have spoken solely of gifted and talented for kindergartners. I do not believe that kindergartners should be subject to a singular assessment. I have not spoken of any gifted and talented programs older than for kindergarten. I'm solely speaking about kindergarten. And I believe that we should be delivering the best education.
Speaking of bias, it definitely seems like these moderators are going out of their way to gaslight Mamdani with every single question they have asked him. It's like, so you said you want to kick babies and punch puppies. It's like, I have never said anything about kicking babies or punching puppies. What I've said is that there's a pandemic of kicking babies and punching puppies, and that needs to stop. And then they follow up with the question. It's like, so are you against punching babies and kicking puppies or not? And he's like, yes, I'm against that because that's wrong. Like, it's fucking insane. What I don't get is when Team Red candidate says the system sucks as it is, he gets applause, but a Democrat says that they boo him. Well, because that's a threat, apparently. When it's someone like Zoran, they fear him when he says the system is a screw job design, but Team Red says it, and they say yes is the only time the one who gets it. It's sort of like 2024 of giving the current guy more talking time. Apparently, also, that is one of the reasons why I'm running as a Republican, because now I can talk about Ronanism, populism, and not be ridiculed as some like filthy socialist Democrat. So there is method to the madness.
Across the country here in this city. We will do that by following through on the proposals I've put forward to hire 1,000 more teachers every single year through our Community to Classroom program. One that will ensure that we're providing each student, whether they be in high school or someone who is an adult looking to become a teacher, with $12,000 in tuition subsidies so that they can start to fulfill the 7,000 to 9,000 additional teachers we need so that we can actually deliver on the Class Size Reduction Act, which I was proud to pass in Albany, that will ensure that children and teachers actually have a manageable ratio in that classroom so that they can learn. Because today, that learning is being rendered impossible by the number of kids in that same classroom. It's time to make sure that that number is lower.
Yeah. But you don't believe the mayor should run this system?
I've been critical of mayoral control because of the ways in which it's been used to take away the voice of parents, of educators, of students. And I think it's important that those same voices be a part of how we lead the system.
So are you for or against mayoral control?
I've been critical of it. I'm against mayoral control, and I think that there's an importance of developing something that actually enshrines all of those voices.
He actually said out loud something.
You also tried to curtail it when Mayor de Blasio was mayor. But you can go.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
I was saying you proposed a curtailment of mayoral control when Mayor de Blasio was mayor during
There's been multiple modifications of mayoral control.
But some proposed curtailment at your hand. So if you are such a champion of it tonight,
no, I never proposed reversing mayoral control.
No, shortening the duration of time he would have control of schools.
Yes, for renewal. The renewal
Mr. Mamdani,
period.
how much control of schools, Mr. Mamdani, how much control of schools would you be giving up? Is it just a sharing arrangement? I know you want to share with the districts and with parents, or would you be giving up full control? And is that an accountability problem if the buck doesn't stop with you?
I think the mayor needs to retain the accountability so that New Yorkers know exactly who they can come to when they have critiques. And I think we also have to develop a system where we don't have what we saw just recently, where you have hours and hours of parents and teachers and students testifying only to be overruled without any consideration by the panel.
Thank you.
So this lady asks him a question. He goes out of his way to answer the question without a time limit that was given to him. And as he's answering the question, she is interrupting him the entire time. Like, this bias, the absolute bias of these moderators is insane. And I'm actually not, I'm not against Mamdani. Like, I don't think he's a terrible person. I'm cautious for when it comes to Mamdani. But watching this debate makes me so angry and want to defend Mamdani because the attacks against him are so obvious.
Mr. Mamdani, I have to move on. Switching now, it's a question for all three of you. Switching to students with learning challenges. Parents of students with dyslexia, ADHD, and autism are very well aware the fact that the school system in New York City is not doing enough to meet their children's educational needs. How will you help these parents and students? We know that Mayor Adams has expanded evaluations specifically for children with dyslexia. It was an issue close to his heart, but what would you do more broadly, Mr. Mamdani?
You know, I think some of the initiatives that Mayor Adams has launched, especially with this chancellor, have been showing positive signs, especially for literacy and for preparedness, especially as we're in a national crisis on reading and mathematical comprehension. And I think those are...
Yeah, the crisis being most graduates in America are actually not literate. Like, people are graduating high school and aren't literate. In America, 2025. Now, I just realized what time it is, and technically, we are actually way behind on the debate from where it was actually supposed to be, so we'll be cutting this a little short after all. Anna spent all that time creating that playlist for today, and I apologize because we clearly didn't get to it. So let's go ahead and let him answer this question, and then we'll wrap up for the week.
Programs that should be furthered, should be invested in, all while also ensuring that we're giving teachers greater flexibility in the curriculum that they're actually teaching. Because what I've heard from many of those teachers is that too often the curriculum that's being procured in the $10 billion a year in DOE contracts is one that has little relation to the classroom.
Thank you, Mr. Mamdani. Mr. Sliwa, you have 30 seconds.
Yes. We have $41,000 that we're spending on each student now.
Okay. Anyway. Like I did that? Anyway. Yeah, so this video, as you can see, newborn baby tear gas by ICE. These are things that we definitely want to cover. It happened yesterday, and I get that Tuesday will be probably a little bit more than a week, but we might want to add some of these videos to the stream for Tuesday. Actually, what just happened? Did I freeze? Really? Well, there's our technical difficulty for the day. There it is. Okay, sweet. It wouldn't be a stream with Ronan if there wasn't at least one technical difficulty. All right. We get to do more of it on Tuesday. Yeah, more dystopian nightmares on Tuesday. Yeah, that's my, like right there, what you were saying, True Steel. That is my concern with Mamdani as well, that he's just going to turn into another Obama. Maxwell Frost, AOC, is someone who says progressive and radical things, but now that he has used the people, he discards them. That is my concern with Mamdani, and that is the direction we have been seeing him take. So. The question they asked is about who started this idea, about who's got it near and dear to their heart. It's your presidential portrait. Yep. So, we didn't get to cover much today in news. We ended up focusing more on the debate, and I was able to share a lot of my policies, and actually I forgot to remind myself to re-upload the economics policy page to the website. Because reasons, yeah. But other than that, we did get to cover a lot of the things that I would do as president, I was just a candidate for a city. Like, there's plenty of things you can do as a mayor as well to dramatically improve the quality of life of citizens, and it's investing in those citizens. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching. It has been a pleasure to stream with you all today and this week. We stream Tuesday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays, we talk about U.S. policies, worldwide news on Wednesdays, and we do recaps on Thursdays, or breaking news as it happens on Thursdays. So with that, I wish you all a great evening. Thank you all for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, and have a good weekend. Stay safe out there.